updates to ranked mode, some gunplay adjustments, the return of the black market, and a little boom boom while you zoom zoom. All this and more as we dive into the update 36.1 patch report. First up, ranked mode is getting some major changes for Season 36. Ranks now feature 2 new tiers, Crystal between Platinum and Diamond, and Survivor tier for those who can manage to push themselves beyond Master. Ranked Duo mode is being added, while tiers and RP have been unified across party types and perspectives. Because of this, everyone's RP will be reset this season back down to 1500. And ranked playpoint rewards have been improved. So drop in, rank up, and collect your new rewards. In addition, we're also unifying your Battlegrounds experience between ranked and normal matches. This means you'll see the recall system, Red Zone, BRDM, and items like the Zipline gun and C4 in ranked. These are big changes to how ranked works, so be sure to let us know your feedback. Next up, we've got a couple of weapon adjustments coming your way. We've cut down the AUG's aim punch by roughly 50% and slightly reduced its damage, while the VSS and muzzle brake have been buffed. We'll be launching Gunplay Labs DMR Rebalance soon to test the reduced RPM and damage for DMRs. This DMR rebalance aims to strengthen the unique characteristic of DMRs and better differentiate them from SRs. So make sure you drop in and let us know your thoughts. PUBG's annual superstore, the Black Market, is making its return this update. Pick up a new Crafter Pass along with 4 classic progressive weapon skins and 6 chromas. Check out the upcoming Black Market announcement for all the details on how to grab these fan-favorite skins. We've also rebalanced the red zone a bit and added vending machines and destructible pots to Vikendi. And speaking of destruction, players can now toss throwables while driving and use handguns from the driver's seat in Watercraft, just in case you needed to add a little more rage to your road. There's a lot to dive into, so be sure to check out the patch notes for full details on everything. Update 36.1 is here, so stop by the Black Market, brush up on your ranked skills, and toss more out your window than dirty looks. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
Every survivor lives for that electrifying moment. One heart-pounding match. One unforgettable thrill. But survival isn't just about one match. It's about how far you'll go, how high you'll climb. Now is the time to discover something bigger about yourself. To turn fleeting moments into a lasting mark. No longer just a moment. It's your legacy.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
Every weekend is a PUBG weekend. We're back, the PUBG Player Tour. I'm joined by the amazing Koho. How you been, mate? It's beautiful sunshine here in the UK. Hopefully you're getting the rays of sunshine from PUBG as well.
I'm getting absolutely blasted. I am melting in my room, Mark. That's what I'm getting. Germany is not ready for this kind of heat, and we've been living it for the last few weeks. I'm sure a lot of people at home have been as well. But, there's no excuse to not be a sweaty gamer this weekend.
No, I'm with you, mate. You might just see me just melt away but we've got lots of PUBG action. Hey, guess what? We've already got 8 teams qualified. This is the final week where we can actually tie ourselves in for another 8 teams that are going to be going through towards the Masters. But it's definitely worth reminding everyone who were the first 8 teams, because they duked it out. Feels like a lifetime ago, but it wasn't quite the case. I mean, obviously, we're back here for week number 2. And for those that don't know what the hell's going on, this is TPP PUBG Player Tour. And obviously, we said before, we were looking for a top 8, though, Koho. So yeah. We know top 8 has been quite tough. There's always the argument that week 1, the big teams go through first, and week 2 is a little bit easier. I feel like at the moment, every week 2 has been getting tougher and tougher and tougher.
Oh, for sure. There's more and more teams just getting into the groove of things, figuring out how these lobbies work, and getting sort of their stamp on the lobby. But when you look at this, right, you look at who's already qualified, you see some of the biggest names in the world right there. Ironically, a lot of them who have just qualified for EWC as well, right? If you're looking at GK and Navi, and then Twist and BB already invited because they've been so good. So literally some of the best in the world are already out of the lobby. And no matter who's coming to fill those shoes, it helps a little bit. Today is going to be competitive. Today is the last chance for these teams on your screen right now to make it into the Masters 2, where the big money is waiting. And Mark, I mean, we're looking at these Masters, right? We're looking at the qualification for that international Master as well. So things are getting mighty serious.
Yeah. In this, again, they've confirmed that 4 Masters. We've already done 1. Obviously, this will be number 2. That's kicking off next week. It's a 3-day event. So again, different format. Obviously, we do best of 4s today, best of 8 over the weekend. They go best of 6 each day. These are the teams that we've got coming up today. But we've got some big names. We have some big names. VP coming in, FaZe, Bushido, Win or Die, Fairy Tail. They've been popping off, and Slam G. Or sometimes they give us a slam. Sometimes they don't. But I'm really intrigued because there are massive names in this one as well.
Absolutely. VP especially, right? We talked about teams that are some of the best in the world right now. VP was dominating Europe just a week ago. Fairy Tail, Win or Die, looking so good recently. Always convincing. Ascend as well looked really, really good in the FPP stuff just a week ago. They're playing with a different roster today, though. So they have 2 roster changes. We've got Killian Brex switched out for Heaven and Xerath. So German players will know who that is. If you're from the international scene, you might not as much. But that's a team we're keeping our eye out today to see how that transpires, to see how that impacts them as a team. Yeah,
it's definitely worth a fact I spoke about before. This is just off the top of the dome, so there's nothing confirmed here. Is it a change? Are we seeing TPP teams start to appear? Are we seeing organizations like Ascend and maybe the VPs in the future, maybe the phases? Did they transition and start getting these sort of TPP squads? Because there's a lot of money throughout the year for these teams to potentially make, obviously with the additional as well. So it's definitely like a thought process that I think is going on the back away. Maybe it's a bit too early. We'll have to wait and see. Here's the prize pool, though. We are going to be fighting out. For those that don't know, obviously, there would have been scrims that happened throughout from Monday all the way through, where there are best of 3s, where you can sign up. You and your friends get involved. If you get enough points, you go join to this stage here. And this is actually where the first stage we actually get the opportunity. $1,000 up for grabs, and that's obviously the split we are going to see. But then the big money comes a little bit later, Koa, doesn't it? Because there's not just the Masters. We've also got Super Cups. So there's multiple platforms or end states to this sort of run. We actually can make a bit of money.
There's levels to it, and again, there's very different opportunities for you to make some money. But right now, we're again in that Player Cup stage where, yes, there's money on the line today, but you are looking for that Masters qualification. You are looking for that top 8. Again, Masters is a big chunk of cash, but we've already had announced that the top 8 from all 3 Masters is going to the 4th Master, which is going to be EMEA versus Americas, right? So that's exciting, as the regions are going to clash in the last Masters of the year. And you're only really going to get there if you're consistently placing well, if you're consistently making it to the Masters. And so far, we've had a lot of familiar names. We've had a lot of teams in a lot of player cups, in a lot of super cups. But this is only the qualification to the second Master, right? So consistency starts here, and everybody is looking to prove that they got it.
Here's some of the replays that happened on week number 7, technically, or week 1, according to the sort of bracket we look at. We will be technically on week number 8, so if you are looking at the leaderboard, that is where you want to make sure you're locked in for today. But we've got to have everything up on the screen for you. Cut-off point, though, for this one, well, we finished off at 43 points with Don't Panic able to sort of hold on, while Division, if I remember right, they were sort of clawing their way back. But it was a good showing. You talk about consistency for me, Koa. Like, I know we've got the Geekos, Twisted Minds, and we've got VP today, and I expect them to be very consistent. But FUT Esports seem to be this kind of household name, this branded name, when it comes down to TPP at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's also they've not been away. They've not been busy playing international lands and gone for a majority of the time. So they had much more time to get into the groove of things, and they always felt like a team that likes to innovate, right? Pixelic is literally the most inventive man in the EMEA scene. And that helped them a lot, I think. Now, the big dogs are back. FUT already qualified last week. They're not here, but they're definitely a force to be reckoned with. That being said, going through a roster change recently, a bit of uncertainty around the roster here or there. So we don't really know how things are going to pan out for them.
No, and I think they're still trying to figure that out at the moment. You're right; they've not been on the FPP scene as much, have they? As much as they would like to be. As a result, obviously, they have been focusing their attention because this is a tour, which, as I said before, you can make additional money. Geek8 looking pretty strong as well. Looking obviously with Diffix coming back, and this is the first time we saw them back as a full squad. Looking pretty good. Twisted Minds was the same for me. BB team super consistent as well. I think there's a couple of surprises for me. Freeside, they played well. I know they started off really, really well on the best of 4. They did struggle slightly, and they sort of worked their way down. And also extends on Navi. Like, I think at this point now, he's really setting himself into this team, Koa. And they're not playing today, but definitely for me, a team. Are they settled with this 4? Potentially. I kind of like how he's mixing in with that group.
Yeah, it's really interesting because they had their sort of. Sometimes teams make a roster change and they have this honeymoon period where suddenly they're unbeatable and they pop off completely. They didn't have that right at the start. I feel like they were starting a bit slower, but again, they got 3rd place in the EWC qualifier last week against some of the best in the region. Probably the most competitive lobby that you will see in the EMEA region for a while. So things are clearly working. Things are clearly working very well for them, and they are again. They're going to have more time to prove that. They're going to have more time to just iron out the little kinks and make everything slot even more nicely. And then they should be even better. So that's really scary for everybody else around to think about the fact that they are just working in a new player and they're already popping off like that. Yeah,
because you normally get that disruptive period, but it doesn't seem the case at the moment. So we have to wait and see. About to get things kicked off, though, for day number 1, week number 8, or week number 1, technically, for this tour. And more importantly, we'll be kicking things off on Miramar. We have a best of 4, as I said, each day, where we play 1 map. So there's no wild cards. Every map is a wild card map, as the observer's back in action, plane spotting yet again, with a northeast down towards a south central, pushing a little bit more to a southwest. It does favour this west side, the southeast corner of the map, and that kind of does worry me a little bit, because we had a lot of circles around here. We've had a few hold on to loss for quite some time. Will we see more teams potentially land in the city early game?
Have to wait and see. That is deeply, deeply VP territory, isn't it? So not a situation you want to put yourself in just voluntarily, as we are seeing weird stuff going on in the north of the map here. That's almost looking like a Tierra Bronco hot drop. It surely isn't. I think that's Crint or Cryant. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one. Versus Slowstorm, but the CIS boys are gonna fly over towards Campo Militar. They're gonna keep themselves safe and stretch for a car here or there. So hot drop avoided, and as you expected, Mark, plenty of players around the Los Leones area.
Yeah, it's just been. I know there's randomness in the first 3 maps. I still think there's someone else pushing the buttons, but we've had a lot of zones in and around the area, and the flight path going over the top of it. We have to wait and see. There's no hot drop It was pretty close to VP, as you mentioned before. Lost is their territory. We do hold on to Lost but it does go very much towards that Death Valley in the west. A little bit water in the south side, but some of these teams, like Fairy Tail, who have been extending out early on the flight path, picking up those cars, they get the opportunity now to continue going towards that west. They're going to be happy with this zone, and I've said it before on stream, Fairy Tail are a team for me that like Miramar, so I think they'll be happy with this zone.
Be hard not to be. Literally the home circle for them, right? As home as it gets. They, sure, it could be a tiny bit further north, but they got rocks in the north that help edge that circle a little bit further south on average. So should be just okay. Same thing is true for Sinka Pau Pau and the rest of his squad. Around Chumacera, beautiful stuff. Beautiful position to be playing out from. Workout mode going super early here, by the way. If you're looking at that map. It's that meta we've seen develop in the last few months. Send one player extremely early to get the scouting done, and the rest can group up later. But they gotta be a bit careful because they are gonna be cruising through the rotations of Bushido. And I think workout mode is actually just taking the apartments here. He's probably silent pull-upping, but he's gonna end up just in someone's compound.
Yeah, needs to be cautious. Couple of shots, VP. Sure, and Skittles remind that actually that's their drop, as I mentioned before, is only one Miramar, so they should be all right. Bushido have positioned themselves up nicely as well. Skittles will have to be careful. I do read out that compound in the end to that T-junction there. It's very, especially if the zone shifts towards that sort of southeast, a lot of traffic comes that way. Good rotation though, early. And as you mentioned before, some of these teams were using that kind of, what we're seeing, that singular player or duo player, sending out early. Everybody got early deaths as a result. So sort of paying dividends. Teams arguing and taking out what they need. NWG, they've taken a lot of real estate. I'll be cautious though, if more than one player tries to push one of these areas, can they deal with an overload situation?
Rough times though. Workout mode going a little too greedy there. Just roll into the compound. No information, just sees that nobody's on his side, but it's a big compound, so instantly punished. Means his team has absolutely no information moving into this first zone. Means they're also down to 3. CS22. Or CSCS. Tag in the name a little bit different. Not sure what they're going for, but they're going for a rough game 1 here, Mark.
I was about to say that. It's a rough start. That's what we're saying. They've lost one. Welcome to the lobby. But it's good to see. Obviously, we are now starting to see more and more teams and players coming through the scrims. New names. Spoke about this very early on when the announcement of the TPP circuit came to fruition, and some old school names starting to appear as well and coming back to sort of scenes, so sort of playing out. So interesting to see. Now, this is a pretty stacked lobby. And more importantly, this is a stacked team. Moss and the guys like him, I think, will do well. So, not completely new for those that have been in the scene for a while and not quite sure. His names will produce, put it that way. Little scout go forward. They're going to rotate their way in. But these guys are on the south pit at the moment. These are the most southerly teams as they will work their way closer to Bushido.
Again, not a ton of information to work with. Mossboard not anywhere to be found, so it's just the 2 right now. And they're just driving straight towards Bushido. Might have spotted them on top there. Not quite sure. Doesn't look like it. They're in dangerous waters here, Mark. Again, no information. Just hoping that this stuff is free. Not in full numbers. A tire gets popped. Metabay already going for the second one. He knows he just wants to slow them down, because if that car loses 2 tires, that's a Kim dead in the waters. And they are in big trouble here. So far staying alive, but 50 HP, 1 tire left. It ain't looking that healthy.
No, they know Bushido doing the right thing. If he has to turn, Akim's in a world of problems. That's forced him to a situation where now they're going to put up Bushido. A couple more shots, looking to try and get any kind of connection. But now with just 2 vehicles, Akim opts to continue going. There's that second tire pop. Now he's completely dead in the water, but he's gone past the compound. So he's going to need some smokes just to make sure he can keep his head in cover.
Yeah, and VP's coming in. There's already a team on the compound north of them. So this is not a situation you want to be in. Your CS. Not a situation that you're happy with. Mossboard is going to have to try and stay out of it. Maybe help from the south. He's far, far off. And these 2, yeah, I mean, I don't even know if that second Mirado, that second UARs is still usable here, because that probably has lost a bunch of tires as well. 2 on this side.
Somehow it survived. Somehow.
How is this alive? Show me Celtic right now. Show me Bushido. Do they not have angles on this? They're not interested.
They focus back the other way.
That's why.
I suppose at the moment, is it containment? They've seen the 2 cars go. They know they're individual seated vehicles. Now it's about containment, right? They're trying to figure out where the remaining is. That's why I think we're seeing them look back towards that south. But they won't know exactly who that is. So they might be expecting us 4. They haven't got a knock just yet. But the most important bit of information is there's only 2 in that compound, and we already see Bushido moving in to try and close the grip. Early knock here, that'll give them the information. They would have read the kill feed before. They know it's a 3, and more importantly, most of the squad, though, sitting in front of them is stuck in the compound.
I mean, now with Crossberg on the other angle, surely they see that car. Yes. Okay. That's starting to make sense. That might be genius vehicle placement. That looks so open in the compound, right? But it's completely covered. 2 Celtic and Metabay on the other side there. So working out nicely, I guess, for a little while. Not for very long, though, because like you said, the information's there for Bushido. They can punish whenever they want to. And if they ever feel like this compound is just vital for their game, then they're happy to take a 4v2 with that information. That being said, probably not going to do that for now. Probably going to just buy their time a little bit, stay safe. Keep that information towards Mossbot as well, right? Further on to the south. Keep the situation controlled and see what the zone does.
It's going to be about control on the zone. I think that's why everyone's sort of setting out their stall. They're finding their positions now. And as Kyle mentioned before, obviously sending those early scouts to gain those positions. SlamG just coming a little bit more, a bit north of sort of VP's position. We've seen these 2 teams sort of duke it out. So car placement will be key. And no need to rush. The engagement now on the other side as FaZe, well, they work their way in the north. And they do find, well, it's 1 down, bit confirmed, nearly on the board. They're going to have to charge just forward. A couple of extra shots. It's going to limit that time. Looks like FaZe Clan, they're going for the aggressive stance here. Early shots, well, that's going to be punishing, but they've got a little ridge they can put up on here, Koho.
It's a big headshot that slows them down quite a bit here. First it comes out. Recap's already going for the nade. That could have been good, but it's too short. So far, nothing gathered. Mexi's on the approach as well, trying to reinforce where he can. And now the util's coming in. That's beautiful. That's a knock and a flush instantly. And just like that, Recap wants to get the hell out of dodge. Mexi wants to close that, though. Mexi doesn't want to let him leave. 1 headshot is all she wrote for now. But, oh boy, is he in trouble. Just cruising through this Miramar map with almost no HP to work with.
No HP, the car's pretty tanked now as well. Win or die, taking a few shots. Can he get over the next ridge? Well, he can get over the next ridge, but he gets granted with Jedrock. The car will spin. 1 more shot. He has to lay low now. Try and take the opportunity, but he goes for the rock. I think he's fully exposed. He's exposed, and Jedrock's, well, 1 step too many. And Recut, well, he's going to have to recoup back to the lobby for game number 2.
Classic FaZe. You give them an opening, and they will run the door in. No doubts in their mind, instantly going for it. Flying on in. SlamG at the same time lose 1 to VP. That was Boostic out of the question. And the circle has other things in mind. The circle goes southwest, where we've seen the first kill of the game. We've seen the first little bit of action, and now we see Hoppage, Nabat, Hands of Hope with an insane amount of space here towards that southwest. Southeast corner of the map is Bushido. Ascend coming in. It's going to get crowded on all these edges because there's just so many teams that have been shifting out here, Mark.
This is the thing, this big shift down, but let's remind ourselves, we've seen a lot of these zones, right? And Trimacera holds on for some time, so I think teams will be expected to launch back, but let's pause that for a moment, though. Ascend their way through. Bushido already sets up, hits the handbrake turn. Now got unable to get the confirmation, but sends in the way, dodging part of Bushido. But the rest of them, they've taken damage already because they're getting joined. It's getting crowded here, and Ascend are finding their way on top of this next fight.
Oh, they might go for this. They see the smoke. Smoke's rarely a sign of strength, usually a sign of weakness. Chris wants to get the hell in. He's seen all of this. Has to be careful about his backline, but they're just arresting this Metabay out. Pain says, thank you very much. We're going to take that flush, and we're going to try and consolidate our position here. They even steal the kill away, and oh, Paint might get the second here. He hits the headshot. Hands of Hope got to be careful. Still have Hoppage close range, but I think Chris is aware.
Chris. Jump, scout where he can. Information gained over the top, but not on the side. Mosto, he comes and activates. Remember, he was cut off from the squad, so he's by himself. Don't expect a flush just yet. But that's going to be a huge green light there for Ascend. Is Chris potentially having a little scout over, receiving any damage, knowing there's a player there. He's putting 2 and 2 together. I think he's got a free kill laying at his feet.
Question is how exactly do they know who's knocked here, right? They heard the shots, sure, but they didn't have kill feed information before this. So they might not know which of the Hands of Hope player this is. They might not even be 100% certain that it's a knock in front of them until they either knock one of Hands of Hope or they do get knocked. Obviously, correction here. We talked about Xerath before this game, but it's Björnta who's playing with us in today. That is not looking good, Mark.
Great player. No, not Brenta, because he's a great player. Let's be honest. Let's just make sure we remind everyone. But Slowstorm do go for the parachute. They lose first one, so we'll get a quick kill confirmed. Grindus is down, but they're able to get store 3 bodies up. Now, those bodies are pretty stacked up together. They've got to piece together the approach. So they do get a couple of nades. No connection. They just need to get a little bit of a reset. That was a big risk for the team. Let's see if the reward will follow.
I respect it. EP into phase 2. Try to get one of the best spots in the circle. They even hot drop a 2-man, but losing 1 and now 0 aggression to follow means there's so much time for LWG to group. And now Tugan, he's got to be careful. Almost gets himself caught. They're almost lucky that he's not allowed to make that cross, because that would have been a secure death. Stelzy finds one with a nade, equalizes numbers for now. Makes things a little bit more doable for Slowstorm.
It always passes that guy. He's halfway across, arguably further than halfway, gets shot and runs back the long distance to get back into safety. He makes it. They get an opening knock now and then. Now they're focusing attention back towards the south side of this compound. Would have heard the footsteps on the north as there are 2 players from NWG there, and they're going to get that confirmation with the blue zone nade at least. So it'll be 1 apiece, so 3 versus 3, and I think Slowstorm going to piece it together. The approach slightly here. They're providing some cover and fire. They're keeping the pressure on and losing the TPP angle to the advantage at the moment.
It's going to be a bit of a stalemate for a second here. I think Pau Pau wants to hit the Dragunov. Gets tagged in the process. Got to slow that right back down. And that's a stalemate that doesn't really benefit either of these 2 teams, but it doesn't cost them too much either. They're sitting in a good compound. They're likely going to be in the next zone as well. They can afford to sit a little bit here and just make sure they don't make a mistake, right? Just don't get knocked. Just don't get Dragunov in the head. Yeah, and don't let them follow up a nade. It's the only thing you don't want to do. Think about Pau. Nade is not perfect, but if they have enough util, if they got some blue zones, they got a few mollies, they could force this push.
See if they can force the push. But what has been forcing that's a zone. It's gone back that way. So just let you guys know, it has pulled back towards Chimicera like we thought it would do. So we're back in that sort of north side. The whole Chimicera store in. This compound store remains in. But anyone that sort of pushed towards the south, which is a few, they now obviously work their way back the way they came. It does mean, as Koa said, though, the zone before, a lot of people are going to be stuck on the outside edge. And this zone is going to force it. So, yes, Slowstorm have taken a risk here, Koa, but they've got the res back on. They've got a kill. Yes, they've lost one. But they're pretty much in the heart-ish of the zone. They don't need to rush. They can just hold this one out.
Yeah, exactly. They can sit. They can sit for as long as they are afraid of getting crashed, right? Because if you're getting crashed, it's nice to have another team in the compound with you. That sometimes helps defending anybody that comes into your buildings. So it's okay for them for now. Lots of other teams don't have that luxury. They've got to work around the edges. Like ADR coming in on that church side. Not a whole lot of free space for them. FaZe looking to close them out if they ever hear them. Teams in their way. They would love to have the problems that Slowstorm are having right now.
See if they have the same problems. FaZe, you've already spoken about their aggression. I think they've got their next target acquired. There goes not Skittles as James making the push forward. Stuff though. Taking the opportunity. And there's a team between them at the moment, so not overextending. Confirmation on the board. That's number 4 here for FaZe. Looking to try and get things done early. Nade will come through. The peak comes over the top. It's a full send. The car goes through at 180 yards. Well, they get sent packing to lobby. 7 kills for FaZe, and we're only on phase number 3.
Meanwhile, Mexi I've said it before, he might have the biggest head in the PUBG scene. Gets headshot twice by an SLR, just randomly off to the side, absolutely cleaned out by Aleos. So FaZe are down to 3. They're going to have to make the next play limited numbers. Rosberg, he's trying to hide out in the bushes. VP is well aware. And they're also a team that's been picking up frags here or there. They're also not a team that was sleeping. And they're going to look to do more of that. Walking into Slam G, walking into Hands of Hope. But they're not afraid of it. They would love to take these fights.
Yes, getting the peak right, getting the push down. It is a fine art. Comes the push out. Vegeta's confirmation. The smoke comes through. Try and look and swapping in between TPP and FPP at the moment. He's the player. Jump shot comes through and gets fully exposed. Borderline deleted there. And the final player for Slowstorm. It's been a slow bleed at the moment. Let's see if they can hemorrhage any of that bleeding for now and get a few more points on the board.
Messy clean at the moment. And look at the map. Look at the mini-map. Already a team realizing what's going on. Already a team coming in. This is going to conclude in a few seconds. But it's a bit more damage done. And oh, if only they knew, Skittles. They're cruising on by. They hear these shots. But they're not aware of the opportunity that they maybe could have had breaching the compound here. They're going to go for the shack instead. VP on the other side. They've seen more weaknesses. They get a bit of help of Criffs from the side. And they're just swinging around the edges. Back and forth. Taking fights wherever they can, just using that insane amount of firing power that they have. Just into all directions.
It is scary. It is scary, that pressure that's being applied. And Hands of Hope. Yeah. Was able to hold off the Hands of Ascent as they left the fight and moved towards zone. Will die. Come full send. Chimisera, we lose a little bit of here now. I know this is a bit of higher ground cover, but it's a massive risk. If you're late coming into this fight, you're borderline surely not getting out of here free of at least a 4-man up.
Oh, I love the U-top. It's rough fighting, but it's fights you gotta take at some point, right? You can't just dodge away. They've been here for a while as well. They're looking to hold this. The rocks are amazing here for Layers as well. Third person. Blues on the back of his opponents. Young's going to make a way on in. If he doesn't cook that nade to perfection, if he doesn't just beam it into Layers' head. Oh, that was not bad. Spotted him for a second. Has a good idea where he is.
Yeah.
If Layers doesn't get naded, though, that push is almost impossible.
Looking now. I'd with the Panzer on his back pocket. Cooks an 8. Watches forward. He knows he most really got... looking his way. He comes out, exposes himself, runs into the smoke, the spray, but oh no, he gets stolen away by the blue zone. As that zone shift again. This is arguably a very tough zone. We can see obviously Skittles sending for the shack on that south side here. If you haven't got a compound, this is open terrain, so utility is going to be real key. Any shields, anything else like cars and vehicles that can keep your bodies up will be also critical, but also timing, Koho. As like this, if a team leaves too early, they get punished.
Absolutely. If you play the field too early as well, you can sort of out-survive in the field. You have a few cars, you have a bit of smokes, but if you go too early, you will get punished, and a lot of teams know exactly that's what's on the cards. Now Ascend, they're sitting in the compound, they're sitting rather pretty. They can wait this out and maybe accept that they're not winning this game, but make sure Hands of Hope dies before them, make sure CS on the northeast of them dies before them, right? So they can bunch up the points and make sure that they get there. FaZe on the other side, we're watching them on the map. James, I think he's blue healing at this point. Not a lot of ways for him to get into zone anymore. Their points are basically maximized, I think.
Good game, though, right? They've maximized their points and they've put the fear of everyone so far into this event. Here comes a full send down towards the field. Only 2 shacks. Both of them already occupied at the moment. And pulls out. Unfortunately, he's actually got the boost in the hand. Oh, he goes for the window jump, gets one, goes out, takes the fight and takes it though. Bushido will they claim another 2 points, and that'll be them done. The shack is now free, allowing potentially Win or Die just to instantly backfill that location if they want. But that was a huge ball drop, and Bushido capitalized on the opportunity.
Well done. Now Levante, like you said, he wants to backfill that. No chance, though. Instantly blasted. Leo still on top. Living, out surviving. Might be blue healing at this point as well, right? Might just be trying to stay in the blue. We've already seen James fall, so that means there's still Gustav alive for FaZe. Somewhere in the blue, somewhere sneaking his way on in. It's a tool a lot of these players will use in situations where they don't feel like they can play the game actively, and both FaZe and Win or Die might now be in that position. Gustav gets the knock on Chris. That's a problem for Ascend. But that also means it's so much harder for him to get in.
Yeah. It is harder, because now they draw their attention. They went, those players looking back. I mentioned before, good player as well, so interesting to see how he's going to perform in this circuit. Gustav is going to try and med his way through here. It's going to be a case of med, couple of steps, med, couple of steps. Hopefully he's got enough in his back pocket, his bag, to get closer towards his zone. But he is very limited here, and a top 8 position with the amount of kills that FaZe have got. Game 1, tick, completed when it comes down to FaZe.
Look at how much this is costing. Ascend has to put so many resources here, so much time into just holding out Gustav, making sure he can't sneak up behind them. It's costing them. All of what you've seen right now, 3 players busy, 2.5 players busy the entire time. Björn, yes, you can get some information, but he can never overpeak. Chris is not even moving out of the compound just yet. It's such a pain, and it's so little that Ascend can really do about this. Because if they just give it up and they just ignore him, then he can just step up. Now, finally, Killfeed tells them, okay, problem solved. We can start playing our own game. This is where they can start being active, and they have to as well, Mark. Because getting down that mountain, it's not going to be easy.
But now they've got the next target. They've got the high ground. It is going to be hard. But for me, Ascend obviously played the game. They wanted to get ahead of the zone before everyone else. They got caught with FaZe. Now, late game, they've got to try and maximize the amount of kill points they can. Burn takes a couple of shots over. One more to try and get the knock. Not quite there. Akim ducks behind the car, but that car is going to go. And Haven, well, he does get Akim down. The car will explode. Now they are sitting ducks. Ascend need to convert this and then try and pick on the fight, because Fairy Tail, well, they want a full defense, and NWG go down. Hands are hoping getting involved as well, as it's swinging every way round the bottom side of the map and the top, as everyone's fighting for an element of this end zone.
Fairy Tail with the best spot that you could get out from. Brightside knocks himself with a nade, but he should live here. Conf's got to make the play out of the compound still. So he is the only one that's rather vulnerable. Fight around the shack is not quite concluded just yet. Any sort of util can do the trick here, but you can see Hero, he doesn't quite know where to put it. He doesn't have the full picture. Just like that. Hive is going to get the reses. They're going to live. Stay in this. Same is true for Fairy Tail. But I don't think CS is making their way on in here, Mark.
They are. That's going to be an opportunity. Yes, they're going for the full run as he dodged, duck, and dive with the Grover in hand. Finds the tree, but finds Brightside. And Conf is going to cause some damage. Conf does go down. Hive let's get a knock as well with the Panzer. Now here comes the push, but it's going to be done. And actually comes from the top side. Ascend find themselves with another kill. Top 4 teams. Hive with 4, Ascend with 4, but Fairy Tail down to a 2. And Win or Die still holding out as a solo.
Ascend's getting some massive frags here, because again, I'll say it again, it's not going to be that easy to come down from the mountain, but them getting a second onto Fairy Tail is massive, because then maybe, just maybe you can swing north, right? You can just walk down that mountain, somebody pins down Bambilovo, and you make the push on foot. If you have to send it down that mountain straight into a team like Hive, who's just sitting pretty, it ain't working out for you. But now, Leo's out of the picture, Fairy Tail severely pinned down, and, well, absolutely known at this point as well, right? They know exactly where these two players are. This is becoming very possible. Now they're looking to blow up the car, Mark, and whenever it explodes, whenever it flies into the air, they're going to look to get that kill.
Yeah, about to say, it's a matter of time now. This is Ascend's game to lose now. Yeah, I know it's going to be hard getting off here, but they can maximize their points. Oh, surprise, the car's gone. There's a shield. What's going to be behind the shield? They're going to try and get rid of that one. Here comes the smoke. Fairy Tail trying to pull every magic trick they can just to keep the bodies left alive. But we are 3 teams. 4 versus 2. And Fairy Tail, well, they got a few more magic tricks up their sleeve.
He's got another one. He just pulled up another one. No way. Makes a move over. Maybe he just picked up the same one, but Ascend got to be careful. They're not running out of bullets here either, right? Björnta's got a few left. We saw Heaven doesn't have a whole lot. Chris is using the bolt. The damage is coming into Hive, but That's looking like a successful transition for them. No knocks just yet, just damage. Heaven, big shots, huge damage. Now the nades can come in. Björn can be absolutely huge here. He's got to be careful about his side, but he finds rocks first. And just like that, Ascend are dominating Hive here.
Yeah, they've received a knock though, so Hive got the knock and Ascend, they made the move. Burn activates though, does the right thing. Great defensive line, gets knock and now gets to confirm. Haywin is down. Burn can't move, but he can now. This is a huge game from Ascend. It's difficult to work their way down. Can they make some more magic come from this one? Fairy Tail want to take the opportunity now to move forward, but that nade, if planted correctly, Bomalova is going to find himself. He needs to get some magic tricks, but it's not going to be the case. It just bounces away.
Oh, the molly.
Perfect.
What? Man, that is so clean. That is so perfect.
Insane. And that the distance that came from as well. Hey, have enough one. That is pinpoint accurate as well. Ascend, well, in order to get off the mountain, yes, it was going to be difficult there, but it comes down to if you clear the lobby, if you get rid of the guns that can shoot us, we can then find our way. Another nade will bounce, looking to get rid of that. Another magic trick will appear as the shield will come up. Bomalova, well, gets a little bit of breathing space. Still 4 versus 2.
This is the nade they were looking for. Just blow up that damn hay bale. But again, it's a folded shield coming out. Again, it's another piece of equipment that keeps Fairy Tail in this. They've been gritty in this. They've been just scrapping their way through it. Heaven with another good angle. Make sure that a little bit of damage is done. Make sure the res comes through. They can re-loot now, pick up some util, pick up some ammunitions, and set themselves up for the game. Heaven as well, I think he's in the zone, so he should be just okay. Björn has to be careful. If he doesn't survive this, if he gets naded out here, he's in trouble, and that's a good nade, just like that. 4v3 now. 2v3, excuse me. Making things a little bit harder than they were just a second ago, but look at that angle from Heaven. That should seal the deal, no?
It's definitely 4 versus 3, mate. The amount of util they've got equally adds up to another player at least. But yeah, Björn takes off a little bit more than he can chew. He got the taste of victory, but Haywin, he's got the taste of the Kobe. Bomalovo is down. Now he can activate. Does he even go for the res? He knows the final player is. It's about pinching the angles. Fairy Tail, they're gritty. Let's see if they can hold and maybe get another knock.
No way. No way. Chris got a bolt. Heaven's got a bolt. The game's over. Right side's got a blue zone. Yep, there it is. Good night. One to the head. It's Chris, the Bolt Legend. 12 frags for Ascend. They were having fun in this one, Mark.
That was difficult though, right? Let's not take anything away from Ascend because we've seen so many teams from that position on the high ground. As you say, it's difficult to transition off. They've done the right thing. They took a lot of the teams out. They took a lot of the pieces away from the puzzle, and that allowed them to kind of sow the seed for a victory. With that aside, if they were unable to get the points go, I don't think they would have got off that mountain. But that was a good game. Game number 1 for Ascend with the 2 new step-in players.
Both stepping up as well. Both doing massive work here. Heaven with the knock onto the car was huge, and then Björn steps up for what's Ascend. It's not a 1v3 if you're a purist, right? But he gets a 3k there against a P90 as well. So massive stuff from him. Keeps Ascend in it. Their game could have been just stopped right there. And the 2 new boys absolutely show up in this first one. I was a little worried for Ascend because, well, they got to get top 8 here to get into Masters, right? And they haven't been able to do it last week with the full lineup. Now, arguably, you would have to say weaker, right? With such a lineup change. But that first game was looking beautiful. The util was on point. I think the focus was on point. They were always doing the right thing at the right time. They never slept through anything they needed to do, and they never overstepped either. So beautiful stuff from them. Very well handled. And yes, that 4v2 at the end is easy, but a lot of the things leading up to that point, not at all.
No. And they took a lot of key decisions, right? We saw that fight though on the South Hill. Headshot. Finish him. But Ascend opted to not continue with the fight. The Hands of Hope, they could have got drawn into kind of a big battle on that south side. They opted to go in front of the team, find a position, try and hold out for a little bit longer. They wanted to play the zones. And we know Ascend when they can get in. And again, a team that are like, if they play aggressive, get results like that. And if they continue on that path, they will be a strong contender for Masters 2.
If you look at this game and you're saying all Ascend did was sit in those shacks and then win the game from there, look how they got into those shacks. Because they weren't their shacks. They pulled up to kill Bushido and then out-rotated Hands of Hope in front of them, like you just said. So right moves at the right time, big moves for Ascend, and a big game 1. We've got 3 more games for you tonight, though. So let's not waste any more of our time of us yapping. Let's go to a short break and we'll be right back.
Every survivor lives for that electrifying moment. One heart-pounding match. One unforgettable thrill. But survival isn't just about one match. It's about how far you'll go, how high you'll climb. Now is the time to discover something bigger about yourself. To turn fleeting moments into a lasting mark. No longer just a moment. It's your legacy.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps, with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
And we're back, straight to leaderboard, straight to half-price chicken dinner, as only the top 4 will be getting the placement points. If for those who don't know, we'll refresh you when we get back in. But let's not take anything away from Team Ascent. Wow, 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 Caro. 12 kills. They bagged the 5 placement points because they came first. Not a bad start, even having half the roster as a noob.
Yeah, I mean, couldn't have been any better, honestly. I think from their position, especially considering, right, that we are half in the placement points, this would have been a 22-point game in the all-point format, just to put it into numbers that people are more familiar with. Massive game for Ascend, massive start to the weekend. Exactly what they needed, I think, as well. That really helps. Starting the game, when you have a new roster and you're starting slow and you're running into issues, that's a bit rough. Starting instantly going well, honeymoon period we talked about. Love to see that for them.
And they're a disciplined team. I said before, like, they're a team, if they play aggressive, I like what we see, right? I know they went through this kind of period where they like to play the outside edge, and there was a point that you'd expect them to activate and be aggressive. I think we're now starting to see that hard work come to fruition. They rotate their way around, they find their pathing, they've got the pathing down, they know when to take the fights when they have to, but then we saw that late game where they had to go take those sort of shacks, take the high ground. They went for the crash, they then held. We've seen teams sometimes get drawn into fighting everyone around them, but Ascend held strong, and as a result, like, that's where those kills came from. Yes, we'd argue that actually if there wasn't as many kills and they weren't able to kind of clear the fields in front of them, it would have been very difficult for them to get up the high ground, but a good game. Another team that I want to talk about very quickly, they didn't quite get into the placement points though, is FaZe. They also looked really hyper aggressive, and they're playing that kind of FaZe technique. They're kind of getting that knock, and now they're looking to try and make those instant pushes. If they continue on that one, expect them to rack some points up.
FaZe and VP are 2 names that come to mind when you talk about that playstyle, right? See your weakness, pull up, punish it, get your few points every single game, make sure the confidence is always up because you're always taking fights, and you're always taking fights where you feel like you got the advantage. They get away with doing that. It's very simple PUBG in a way, right? They get away with doing that because they are so good individually. And if it was the old point format, then Gustav would have maybe healed into placement points, but it's not. We are only giving placement points to the top 4 here. I still, no doubt in my mind, that FaZe and VP are going to be just fine playing this exact playstyle if they want to for the rest of the 7 games that we got left. They will be in the top 8. Something shocking has to happen for one of those 2 teams not to make it to the Masters.
It's PUBG, so we do sometimes get some shocking moves, but we have to wait and see. But yeah, as Kyle says, we are looking for a top 8, guys, and it is half-price chicken dinner, so it'll be 5 points for a first, and then obviously for a second, we'll be looking for 3, and then 2 and 1. So again, this is the only way, kind of, I call it half-price chicken dinner. So it does mean kills are key. So that has changed recently and historically, where teams and players have gone quite aggressive when it comes down to kills. And this is one of the maps which I like to see. Out the doghouse into Tago time. So it's week number 2, match number 2. Flight path, though, is coming from a north down to a south-southeast. But another flight path here, Koa, that is favouring one side of the map as we are going heavy east. That was sweet, by the way.
That was pretty sick, yeah.
That was sick.
I think he also managed to call me a dog while doing a pretty sexy plane shot, so that double shout out to him. That was pretty sick. I'll take it. I mean, I'm rude to him in the DMs, and he's rude to me in the observing, so that evens out pretty nicely. Like you said, right? Eastern, it's a hate relationship more than anything. But Eastern plane path means concentration around the low loot spots, and we already see that around Shipyard here, Mark.
Yeah, look, you got to extend. You're going to have to try and go for the cars, but it's limited here. And with multiple teams, SlamG and WG also going for the same. Bushido, I think, going to try and duck down, secure the cars on their side. But it looks like they've even isolated. Look at NWG already going back. Top is heading his way back. That means potential isolation. Goes for the boat. I'm hoping he might get out of there with Skaven very close to Bushido. But it does mean the longer he's in there, longer he's rotating. He's got no ammo. He's got no opportunity to get some vest and utility away. He has to get somewhere quickly.
Hellcop's on the barrel already. Has to hit an insane shot here to do anything with it. 2 more shots. Not connecting now. Topic. It's getting out of dodge. Bushido gets to keep the space for now. The rest of NWG, though, they're not looking as hot. Lurex is trying to arrest this man. He's trying to pit maneuver him. He doesn't have a gun himself. He's got teammates with guns. But it's not gonna happen here. There's no way you full contest this. Is he just flying into the compound with him and they're gonna have a loot off?
It's a punch-up. He's gonna fight. This is... Well, what's it? Keep eyes on him. You can see another car's coming from behind. Reinforcements.
Yeah, he wants to stop the car somehow.
Has to be a pit maneuver here. Has to be. Oh, they've got the tyre. This is going to be dangerous. Now they hunt him down. That was too fast, too furious. And the dead body flips the car into style. And SlamG, they get an early point on the board. Yeah, interesting technique. But it worked. I
mean, to be fair, it also worked because Morori hit a pretty nutty shot there. Let's be real. Yeah. That's an iron sight mini onto a driving UAS from behind. That's pretty cracked. That's pretty good. But I think, yeah, the goal for Lurix here was to stop the car. The goal for SlamG, I would say, was let's show dominance. Let's make sure these guys are never coming here again. Because that's what happened right there is a terrible experience. There's nothing worse than getting hunted down when you don't have a gun. And you start hearing those mortars. You start hearing the gunshots coming in. It's a terrifying situation. So this is a really good signal for NWG. Do not come here again.
But especially with a flight path, I feel like PUBG forced the hand of the players. But I said before, Tago, it's the wild card map, as we say. But it seems to be wild for a different reason today. Skittles, understanding, knowing that there's a buggy there that might not be there, but trying to figure out using the peak to the advantage. Omalovo, though, doesn't give away anything just yet. He's definitely disciplined, and I wouldn't be too surprised that he has seen, though, Winkley already pop his head over the top. So, again, just disciplined outside the zone here, waiting for the overcommit.
Oh, my bad. Finds they are, who's already missing a tire. And that's another car chase. Layers is there, hello. Just needs to connect another bullet. Or 2 with the AK, and he's gonna look to connect. Nothing just yet, but it's another spin. He's just in such a rough card to do this. Leos is instantly playing it much, much safer than he was a few seconds ago, though, making sure that he doesn't get singled out, doesn't get knocked down. Actually taking his sweet time there with it, Mark. Very disciplined, very safe, making sure that nothing bad could come off this.
Another rotation kill as well. Early rotations. The zone, as we saw just a minute ago, has popped very much in the east. No surprise there, really. But there's a lot of unplayable. That red line that goes way down is going to force a lot of these teams closer together. So I think we've seen a few crossed paths. Small rotation will come by. There goes the red zone. We are on the patch. If you didn't figure out what that was on the mini map, it is the red zone. The Sens, on the other hand, well, there's an element of aggression and technique. Then there's also going head to head with FaZe in a town, and that could be very, very explosive. We have to wait for that one to boil. As we are seeing now, win or die. Just move past. Looks like Hands of Hope taking the compound away very quickly.
Quick moves coming out to just split for Hands of Hope. Hoping that that's going to carry them into the late game. Recap. They were the team who got punished real early in the first game. Now again, suffering casualties in phase 1 before they even get to play the game. And in the vicinity of a lot of teams that will continue punishing. Hands of Hope are ratting this though, Mark. They are hiding out, they're crash baiting, and they want to find Hello My Bad for free, but it's just one bullet connected. Probably not the kill just then. And now the game's up.
The game is up, and they will now have to back away on the little new reposition, a new location. We look to the skies for hope, for dreams. The fire will come in. Bushido dancing the dance across the rice fields, hoping to get out of the red zone as quickly as they can.
Yeah, you hate to see it. You make all these plans, think about what you want to do, and then you get red zoned. You gotta move on. You gotta figure out something else. Bushido, they gotta delay a little bit. Not gonna hurt them too much. We've got 3 minutes until the zone comes in. This is a particular situation here. This is FaZe coming into the edge of the town that Ascend was looting, and I do also believe that Ascend is just pulling the same move we've just seen from Hands of Hope, just hiding on out. Trying to rat this, get some free entries, but that gives FaZe time to loot all these drops. As I say that, now Gustav's been spotted. Björn takes the shots, but he takes them too early. Only does a bit of damage. No knock just yet. And again, the game's up.
Yeah.
Look at Jeeves.
Spotted the angle, but I think James is...
He's going in.
He's on Korean time. He's playing a different style of PUBG here. Hey, Cook over the top, looking to try and get the connection. Bounce off the roof. Does it go too far? It doesn't. Burn obviously keeping in the compound. Keep safe for now.
Just a lesson in Central European names. It's Björn. It's not like burning. It's Björn.
It's going to take a while to get used to that.
Also, you know that's a first name. His first name is not Björn though, so I'm not sure what's going on with his in-game name and why you would ever just pick a first name that's not your name, but there's plenty of German guys that somehow do that. Not sure if there's a guy called Klaus and his name is not Klaus. We have a guy called Timster who is not called Tim. It's a lot of weird stuff going on in the German community.
Wait. It's not just the German community. I just like to keep things simple. Name, Mark. In-game name, Mark.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? But then if your name was Chris and you would be called Mark Cass, then, you know, there would be some question marks.
There's a few question marks at the moment. Slam G thinking they're on the outside, and Bushido, you already got the spot. This is a good actually opportunity to show you obviously the observing. So obviously don't forget when we're on the players' perspective, so Celtic, Nelcop at the moment, they are in TPP. We're not just in the overhead. That's how these guys are playing. When we see them swap into FPP, that's the player swapping into FPP, going down the scope or swapping the camera angle as well. But the camera angle, forget about that. It was the angle from the mini. Completely exposed Celtic. He should be able to get into a position where he can get res. Now, there's no need for the team to crash this just yet because of the zone. It's unfortunate they can't get the flush.
Few tires popped as well, so not all that beneficial. At the same time, certified whiffer, which I assume that's correct. See, running over Fairy Tale on the other side of the map, so some kills coming on in there. As this is surely just a res for Bushido and a retreat for Lurix.
Be a retreat at the moment. Wait and see. Quick kill, quick confirm. VP. So a bit of a hit and run. Yeah, we just gotta kind of get ready.
Oh,
This
it's
is stage
Beanie,
number
of
1.
course. Sorry. I was messing up the names.
Also, the transition we've had. VP, phase, move around foot. Move out players, move in. So, everyone's changing up at the moment. VP on the transition half. They're in the cars now waiting for the zone to hit. Right through the red zone.
They would be fine stopping here if there wasn't a red zone, right? I mean, they're pre-driving, but
Don't
that's
risk it.
dodgy. Aye, not a fan.
No. It does change maybe how they play. Maybe VP did play on the hillside and don't crash into the compounds. But PUBG have other options, Koro. They're going to keep them moving, keep them transitioning towards maybe more of the central zone, as they are taking a spot in the centre. But it is very exposed, especially if a team sort of feels this sort of north side takes the high ground. They've got to be careful. There is a little dip, so the car tyres should be okay. Well, at least for now, and that zone has shifted that way.
It's one of those positions where if nobody's mortaring you, you are just fine. But when a mortar comes in and it's locked in, you might be in trouble. Now, that might be another red zone literally on their heads as well, by the way. I mean, sure, it's also on ascend. Doesn't matter that much. Slowstorm is on another very late EP, another very contested EP. They're once again going to be taking casualties here. Surely, yep. That's chuking out. Rest of the squad in trouble as well. This has been their method of choice, their rotation tool number 1. So far, it's not working out well.
No. You'd maybe argue game 1 slightly, but maybe a bit more delayed. About them getting evicted from the lobby. One nade goes one way, one nade goes the other way. Sloy Randers will be down 5 left. That will try and hold, and it's going to be straight out. It's a slow storm. It's a slow start. And they'll be out here for game number 2. Oh, wow. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
1, 2. Nix does Nix things.
And now
Puts
they
80
get
out
moved
to
on.
sleep. And they are just clenching right now here. Hoping that none of these rockets come down. Instant replay. Instant headshot. Lines up the second. Nice re-peek as well.
Yeah.
Dropping
The
that
disciplines do that.
attention for a second. Just resetting. Nicely done.
And then they get evicted by PUBG again. Moved on with the red zone. Not happy that
Wait.
VP is situated where they
There's
are.
a third one on their head.
Literally, VP are getting
Oi.
evicted. Everywhere VP go to out there, getting told to move on. You can't pitch up here. They refuse to move, though.
You know the observers are hungry. Sorry to keep interrupting you, Mark, but you know the observers are hungry to catch the first ever red zone death as well.
100%.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
You know what's going to happen, though? Because there's 3 teams in the red zone. We're watching VP, and it's going to go to the other side. Like, they're going to get caught out in the middle of the compound, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. There'll be time. It's phase number 2. We've got plenty of red zones to go. And water fire again, or the rocket fire's coming in. It's in between all parts of VP.
The thing is as well, with the changes to the red zone, right, it's much more intuitive now. You actually see the rockets coming in, but
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just don't have a lot of space to maneuver. I think Nix is running circles around that rock, right? He's trying to make sure he doesn't get hit, but if it's coming for you, if one of those rockets has your name on it, you're just in trouble.
Not now. Number 3, done. Passed. VP, not moved on.
Well, plenty more red zones to come, surely. We'll have to wait and see. Chris rocking the bolt again. It seems that the red zones just aren't consistently on every map, right? Like sometimes the game turns them on and sometimes the game turns them off. And then when they're on, you see them all the time. But when they're off, they're just not there for a full match. So not the consistent red zone that we're seeing at the moment. But it's still the first patch with it. So I guess some of the quirks have to be ironed out. Fairy Tail actually got the blue chip revive on that casualty they took earlier. That was VP killing them, right? VP running them over. Actually get that player back here, and Bombilovo, he's staying in that plane for a while. Where is he going?
Is he going to that compound, that single compound? Is he going out where
He's looting his own body in the blue?
I suppose, but I suppose he's been run over, so the expectations are he's not
Looted.
Yeah, so he should be. He must be expecting. He's got vest. He's got He's got the option to get Med straight back on. And if he's got the jammer pack, he'll be good as well, just to kind of get a reset. But yeah, Bomalovo phase number 3 can take the damage, but it's all on this basis that he hasn't been looted.
Just hoping that works out for them. It's gonna look for the body here in a second.
But the guys would know as well, right? Because actually, yeah, because they would have got his chip. So
Yeah.
it'd be so unfortunate if he's been run over and then looted again later in such a random position as well. So I think he'd be good. He should get stacked up here. Look, I'm going to throw it out there, Kyle. I know it's not going to be popular opinion. I kind of like the recall system, mate. I kind of like the tactics that you can actually risk and get the reward of getting players back up.
Oh, for sure. I've always said I think it 100% needs to be in ranked. I wasn't sure if it was good for esports or not. I was a bit unsure, a bit divided on that. But if it's in ranked, it probably should be in esports as well. So I'm not opposed to it either, even though I'm more of one of the sweaty, everything should stay as it is kind of guys. But I feel like we haven't had that conversation because the patch was so huge, right? We've got everything at the same time again. We've got the BRDMs, Pixelic just running over people. We've got C4s getting sent into compounds. We've got the red zone. So we've just been a little bit too busy to actually have a good conversation about the blue chips. But I think it's good. I think it's finally been unified across all the maps, right? We don't have the Gulag anymore or all that kind of stuff. So we have a simple, easy to understand, well-working mechanic. And I think it's cool. I think it's spicing up things a bit. Next red zone, by the way. Hello.
Oh, and if there's like on like the point system and the leaderboard, how many times did this team find themselves in the red zone? Like we get the blue zone damage, we should now get red zone timing. Zone shifts weight. Let's go very aggressive towards that west side. Hold on to that water, the river stream, the trickle through the part of the zone that we had remaining. Does mean there's a big high ground in the middle. I'll say it's a little hill. All these teams now got to try and fight for position. This will come back down to sort of timing again, who goes at what time, and I think that's why we see teams like Win or Die who are kind of climbing that mountain already. Now position themselves back on the outside as Corexy, well, gets April moving down. It's actually stolen as well, so FaZe steal from the compound, and looks like our Fairy Tail team lose one. There'll be no opportunity to get that chip back from their position.
This one's been brewing for a while.
Oh, nade.
Nade from Gustav. Oh, he has to be careful on the other side, though. But that's an opener, and they want to close that one as well. They want to get that flush. Not going to be easy, though. Just already crawling down. There is a chance that a nade flies down these stairs, but it has to be absolutely picture perfect. Now the res is coming on through. Cost them some time, though, Mark. And Ascent is the team that has to make the move here. It's the team that has to make the push.
You know, the team that have to make a push. Res does happen. It's phase number 4, so won't have the option just to live out there as much as they'd like to. Blue zone comes in. It's only one, though, so Payne's able to med his way through this. Does pop the first boost. Be waiting for the time to go down before he sort of opts to pop the med, but he has the jammer pack on. So again, more time, more opportunities, and with the solo blue zone nade, it's not going to do damage at phase 1.
Payne's looking for something here. I'm not sure what. Thinks there's somebody behind, but it doesn't find the angle. It doesn't know exactly where James is. He's going to be a big problem here. They're in the wrong spots. That might have given away the position at least. Might have let Paints know exactly where he is. But Ascend still so in trouble. Big opener from Paints though. Big knock to find. Relieves a little bit of the pressure, but I feel like Jimbo's got his number here, no? This is... Oh, it's so awkward for Paints.
Oh, no.
He lives though. He lives and the damage comes in. The trade comes in with Util to follow it up. This could be disaster for James.
Could be disaster. Nade, oh, he jumps up the back and he's free, but he takes a tumble. Unfortunately, he takes a tumble on the stairs into the blue zone. He's going to fall. Ascend will be reading the kill feed, can draw their attention back the other way. We'll be looking now. Gustav, though, with the Famous is on the high ground, but again, this is an ensured destruction of both these teams. Everyone else is picking themselves up on the outside edge. The victor here might be the victor to the next claim. Gustav, though, refusing to go down. Huge nade comes in and does catch it. Burn, pinpoint, post it straight to the mailbox, and they're now full.
Big win. Big win. One of the best fighting teams in the lobby. FaZe here. Torn apart by Ascend. I think they're only going to get that one. That being said, the blue zone might just claim everybody else, and I'm looking at that map and I'm seeing Win or Die revive in the city right now as well. So Beyonce is mighty busy. But the northern side is blowing up at the same time as well here. Hive, Krint, deeply entrenched. They're fighting for survival.
They are fighting for survival. I was going to say, I saw that popping off, the little animation you can see on the map. I was like, who's that? And then you see a little Win or Die logo run into the danger house to go get the body back. For now, VP watching a few shots now. It's all down towards the hill. Zone shift slightly away again, but we still hold the higher side. We still hold the river out on the west. Everyone's got to fight for a little bit of position here. Repeat will come through. Does actually get the first knock and look for the confirmation. That should make number 10, VP, climbing the leaderboard. Ooh.
That's not looking good, though. They're down to 1. Big win. Big fight to win for Bamey now. 10 frags. He spotted him. He comes around the corner. It's another one on the board. Should be a reset. Should be a res. Should be a good position. No? Oh, but he's so far. He can't push down that ridge. He's so exposed.
Yeah, he's the distance. He repositions now, looking to go towards zone. Don't know if he's picked up high rotating just below him. Like they're getting a few bits and bobs presented as he swaps over. It looks like he's struggling with 5s as well. There you go. 179, 153 over 2. Last player now for CSCS. Let's try and figure out how he goes through. And unfortunately, he's the top of the hill, so there's nowhere really to hide. He's going to have to fight as aggressively as he can for a bit of position now.
This is just absolute powder keg about to blow up here. So many teams involved in this. Fairy Tail, they want to stay as clean as they can here, but Dante waiting for Akeem. Akeem trying to make his way on in. Beamy coming out of the blue. Recup still kicking in this rimmer. He was first. Probably the first guy in the lobby to be last alive of his team, and he's still kicking in this. He could spoil this completely for Fairy Tail as well.
Yeah. Because they get support slightly. Akeem goes down. Presenti will end his journey. 7th place, no placement points for him. Don't forget, guys, girls out there, it is half-price chicken dinners, I say. So only the top 4 will be getting placements. 5 for first place, 3 for second, obviously 2 and 1. And there's a lot of solos here. Jumps up though. Oh, get Bonlovo, quick kill confirmed. There is only one more opportunity to get a recall back in, but we don't have any sites in the zone, so you need a hell of a lot of meds. And I'll argue the blue zone will do the damage before you can even get it in. The nade will come in. Comes in from Conf. Without dope, has to reposition. Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! You no!
Pushing him out into the
That's
blue.
bullying.
That's dirty. That is dirty.
Nah.
Oh, what? No way! No way! He jumps out of the net. Oh, he gets back in time. Oh, this is full troll. Absolutely love it. Jet Rockstar. He went back. He picked up his boy.
He's running him over as well.
He's now gonna look for some more. Comp has to try and hold out. VP has other eyes. Now we get into the placement points. Win or die with 4 bodies up. BRDM running through. Skittles will hold with 4. Hive now down to 3. And VP on a solo. And someone needs to at least team together and start shooting out the BRDM, because Win or Die is cruising to a victory at the moment.
There's the Panzer. There's the counter. It's rock, paper, scissors. And well, Gedrox, he had the rock, but Hive has the paper. Aye. That was looking unbeatable until it wasn't. And suddenly Gedrox is wondering where the hell his game went.
Yeah, he thought he was in God mode. He was running like, I saw Pixel do this the other week. I can do this. I'm going to run over everyone and have fun. I'm going to push people out to blue. And then the Panzer arrived. It does feel like a bit of rock, paper, scissors at the moment. Hive, well, they're chasing down. Skittles has been exposed. Continues to scout to the advantage they can, but they do receive the first knock. They swap over towards the drive seat. He hits their full break, but Presenti hasn't got the position to provide him the cover. Unfortunately, he does fall.
Rough times for Hive. Should be short-lived. Hadouken closes things out. Skills looking good. P90 on the other side. Levante does not lose fights when he's using that gun. And it's been a wild ride, Mark. We are in phase 6. We're in phase 6 in a 3v3. That's not what we usually see.
It has been a bit of a chaotic from the red zone to the BRDM and everything in between. It has been aggressive. I don't think it's going to stop at this point. Skittles have to find their way in. Win or Die have been bullying slightly. Was denied a little bit on the victory of the BRDM. Now going to reposition. Going to try and take the high ground where they can. Win or Die do have 2 bodies down low here, Koa. So they have also left the body up. So we'll do a little bit more of a game of chess. There's a few shots towards the high, and they go head to head with a P90 as Lloyd gets him down. Now they have the high ground. Now they've got the favour. And does the anchor player, does that become an effect here for the Skittles? We'll have to wait and see.
That's a crazy shot. That is so important. Levante was in a really good spot to do a ton of damage here and now. Now they got the numbers and they got the space, and they're taking it, right? They have a really good idea that Win or Die is down on the riverside. We can take a ton of this space. That being said, Mark, the compound's in, Sloy is in, sure, but all of that open ground east of Leos here, it doesn't look super playable to me. No. This is still very winnable for Win or Die.
And I think, for me, it felt like they were hoping that Win or Die was going to kind of charge that high ground, and then Slow becomes a big impact, right? Because you're going to expose them because it is open. The fact that Win or Die were like, do you know what, Levante, unfortunately, you're down and out, we can't get you. We're going to try and hold the zone. It shows the depth that Win or Die knows how to try and break down this end game. And the trees we know with Tego are pretty painful. Better for some of these teams that are on the low side. There's a great example. Because we are going to see Hello My Bad see the players from Skittles first before they even get an opportunity to get an idea where they sort of are holding on the ridgeline.
Tell you what, it's going to take a while. This is going to slow right back down. Phase 7 is going to shift on in. Skittles can make moves. Win or Die can't really. But I don't think Skittles is going to go crazy. I think they're just going to play this from the compound here. And that's the smart move to make. They still have roof control, which makes the transition much easier, right? The angles are incredibly good for Sloy. They are sticking to that rock. Okay, I'm not sure how much I love this. The rock's good for now, Mark. But it's almost guaranteed out of the next circle. And that opens up a bit of an opportunity for Win or Die here. And oh my god! There's no way.
How many tricks does Win or Die have in their back pocket? Like, surely he can't get away with that. He needs a smoke. He hasn't got one. Does he have a shield? No. So, yes, he might have put a mortar down, but what? Surely it's too close and too... Can he even activate it? He's going to give it a good go. No way. No way. Surely he's too close.
I don't think so. I don't think so. This is, I think,
it's gonna be
160 is pretty good. 160 is pretty good. Keep in mind, a diagonal square is about 140. It's a little bit more than that, so...
Oh my god!
165, maybe? Oh, I hope he didn't shoot all his shots too early. He's got one more. No. Yes? Yes? Okay. Could have at least blown up the car. A little bit. Oh, there it is! There it is! See ya later. That's a res mark, but that is also the car popped. That's going to make things a lot harder for Skittles.
And you can see the smoke already coming out because I think they're also not happy with that rock placement, right? Relevant of the amazing mortar fire. Does mean they were kind of stuck on that transition before. Now the smokes will be sort of, unfortunately, not in full bloom. There's now a gap. So Laos taking advantage, moving forward, taking a little bit of elevation, having the ability to now look over the rock, waiting for the Skittles players to move over. Cars pop. They're going to try and get in it. It's going to be a bit of a slow transition. And Win or Die are setting up for a victory. Oh,
still P90 on the other side. Sloy is Giga exposed on that roof, no? I think Leos sees him completely, but he's waiting for his time to strike, does the damage to both of them at the same time. He does so much damage, but not a single knock.
No, he comes over.
One. Hello My Bad is down to almost no HP. If that molly comes into the shack window, I think it's all but over. Hadouken might get it in, but not in time. Hello My Bad is dancing. No, what?
No.
It splits around the corner. Oh, that's disaster. His game's over.
Game's over. He sometimes thinks Lawyer would take the damage, and he's going to claim the victory as well. It felt heads or tails. Skittle, well, they're going to get the win. 7 kills on the board, but VP in the kill feed, in the red zones, but digging out as many as they could. 12 kills on the board for them. That was an interesting game. Lots of aggression. That's even before we started talking about the BRDM, right? Lots of aggression, lots of movement. We saw recall back in as well. And quite a technical ending, actually. Really well played for Skittles from actually a very strong defensive line from Win or Die.
I think he mollied the shack, but it spread out the door and around. Yeah. I think that was really unfortunate for Hollow, my bad. That could have been a winnable clutch there. But yeah, power and numbers at the end, right? They just get overwhelmed. Crazy start to the game with a bit of car chasing going on, some really rough EP for Slowstorm that doesn't work out, and then I mean VP survives 17 red zones to get 11 frags later on. Love to see that they at least stayed alive. But man, honestly, just a wild game. There's a reason so many people died so early. There was a lot of good shots, and there was a lot of just craziness going on.
That was a bit of craziness in the town. That one was always going to erupt at some point, especially when the zone sort of left. So Ascend and FaZe, they were happy neighbors for a little bit of time, and then Win or Die started to play the magic tricks. And Deadrock's pushing the car out into blue. That is a very dirty gameplay. He didn't even get a point to reward it. Jumps out, gets the kill, get back into safety. But as you say, rock, paper, scissors. Well, you thought you were safe. It wasn't for that long.
I just honestly, like, somebody just get to HR and file a complaint. That man, he's lived his whole game in a shack, comes out, tries to make it into zone, and Gedrox just pushes him out into the blue with a tank. What do you do? Come on, that's just not okay. Skittles win the game, Win or Die gets second, but that's bullying, Mark. Like, that's not okay.
That is. And the fact he didn't even get out, he just pushed him slowly out the zone as well. See you later. You're out. You're not coming in anymore. Full memes for a moment now. While I recoup and think back of all the craziness that happened, we'll go to a quick break because Tago's done. Rondo is coming up.
Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. This year, we're introducing structured competitive play in third-person perspective mode for players of all ranks, levels, and ability. Here's how it works in EMEA and Americas. PUBG Players Tour competition is held in 2-week phases. Each week, you and your squad can compete in player scrims. Think of these as a great alternative to ranked play. Each day of scrims will feature a variety of maps with defined team and lobby sizes to ensure a balanced best-of-3 rounds. Teams will earn points based on their performance, and daily leaderboards will track their progress. When the scrims are over, the top teams will qualify for the PUBG Players Tour Cups, where they will be joined by up to 10 invited teams, featuring some of the best players in the region. Players' Cup leaderboards will track team performances across 2 days of play, with the top 8 squads progressing to the final round of competition. Players Masters are the pinnacle of the PUBG Players Tournament. 8 teams from each of the 2 cups will engage in fierce competition for a huge prize pool in each region across the PUBG Players Tour season. And for times when a Players Masters isn't scheduled, you can still get your PUBG Players Tour fix with Super Cups. These work just like Masters events, where again, 16 teams, 8 from each of the 2 previous Players Cups, compete for a share of the total cash prize pool. Welcome to the PUBG Players Tour. You know the game. Be a player.
Wow. We don't have long to break, but especially if you're new for the Player Cup, it's all about the action. Well, we saw the BRDM, we saw the red zones. VP surely got a medal for the amount they survived at, and that one, they got the kills during that game, but they weren't able to get the placement. As I said before, it was a very technical ending. I definitely feel you're right. I definitely felt like Skittles, despite getting the win, they weren't happy with the rock, and they had to find a way to get back into that line before taking the victory.
In the end, it's well done by Skittles. They win up a lot of important 1v1s. They managed to group together again. But I think what entirely carried them is taking out Levante there with the Dragunov, right? If that doesn't happen, they're in for a bad game. But that way they get themselves a 3 helmet, a P90, and the man advantage, and they're just all of a sudden they're very much okay. There was one thing in that game that I just remember when we were watching the highlights, as we mentioned, the Ascend 4v4 FaZe Clan go in essentially 4-0. Yes, I mean one of them died to the play zone, and I think that kill might have gone over to at least a 4-1 outcome. That's not what you expect. I think FaZe is one of the best fighting teams in the lobby, so them getting rolled with positional advantage, that's big news, I think.
I think that last bit of your statement was very key as well. They had provisional advantage. They were
In
the ones
TPP,
holding the center.
Well,
Like,
we always say it's so much more important to be defending, right?
hold that compound, hold the angle, wait for the peak. But Ascend, aggressively working their way out. And now, yes, when Odai did come in, yes, they did use the recall system and claimed up. I think they did get one of the points from it as well. But yeah, take that aside. Head to head, you wouldn't have expected FaZe Clan to come out as cleanly or come out at all on top. But here's the leaderboard though after match number 2. Ascend do back the kills, 15 kills for them. Still keeps them on 20 points though, Koa. But there's a little bit of a grouping up between 1st and 7th. It's not a bad first 2 games starting. Yeah.
A lot of kill points for VP to clutch that up. FaZe Clan as well, right? 15 kill points for themselves. Leaderboard looks a little wonky there. I don't think 12 is higher than 15, so I'm not sure what happened there. But we are going to go to the 3rd game. The maths are for the mathematicians. We are just here to watch some PUBG. We're here to talk about some PUBG. The Observer's here to bring us some plane paths.
No, he lost it. He lost it. Yes. Yay.
Man.
It's going so well, Koa. So well. And the pressure.
You lose every shot
unfolded.
you don't take, you know? I respect it.
And we're here for him. We're here for it. We're here to support the Blake Bath this one. It's a southwest-ish, out towards the north, pretty much going through the middle of the map. You don't really leave those 2 squares. Not a bad playing path. Obviously, the first 2 were not great. And for those that have just joined in, we've got best of 4 each day. It's best of 8 total. So this is the penultimate game, though, for day number 1.
Penultimate match. FaZe Clan going for Zhao Tin. April is not going to mess with that. Slamgy, just a bit evolving around Slowstorm. That's an interesting take from them. And then, well, you could say it's a little crowded to the northwest. Especially because, not because there's so many teams there, but because there's not a lot to loot there. So, Krint, they are stuck between 2 4-man teams who aren't giving them a ton of space here. So, not looking super comfortable for them to start this 3rd game.
Zone does go early flight path. Yuling is the middle of the zone. The Storm and VP are situated there. A lot of teams, though, are starting to go more for the outside edge of the map. And I think that's part and parcel with the gliders, right? We're all trying to find the hard spawn and get enough loot around. And that's why we're getting a little bit more traffic in that north side. The Send, though, they've got to their drops. They've got to the cars. They all get the loot. I think they'll get control of that one up in the north here. Hell, my bad has to divert away from Skittles as well. But not a bad zone, actually. I do like the zone. I do like Yuling sitting in the middle here, but we've got a bit of higher ground. Got a little bit of water on that sort of south side. We do see the zone sort of pull towards that northwest, and if it does, we've got those high elements that we need to factor in, especially for that sort of phase 4 when it starts to give up some of the unplayable.
That's how the map plays out. You have to think a lot about where the unplayable is. At least we don't have a ton of water in play, just a little bit at the south. Tiny lake at the north. But until then, it's just putting yourself in a good spot, keeping your options open. It's the VP home circle. They should have a really good idea about how they want to play this. They should have a really good idea what they want to do with this. But then on the other side, the other hand, they don't have to give away a lot of strats here, right? I said it before. They play hyper aggressive in these, and it does work out most of the time. So they can play simple PUBG here. They can stick together, control not a ton of space, just whatever they feel like they really need, and then get aggressive in phase 2, 3, and 4. So they don't have to really give away the strat book here all too much.
Yeah, it might be right. We've seen them collapse, so they're not gone for the 2-2 split hold. They're not trying to hold too much terrain at the moment. They go back to kind of their drop spot, which they're known for. So yeah, interesting play. Maybe it's just trying to hide a normal game style. They don't need to obviously commit too much at the moment. The rest of the teams, though, move their way in. Bushido, early rotation, same as Fairy Tale, phasing that sort of northwest corner there, be happy as well. Kind of like Bushido's move down. I've got so the furthest point up. So again, early rotations, but we've seen that being a reward as the mathematicians have reset the leaderboard for us. And there we go. So Ascend Store in the top, no surprise there. High VP phase, Win or Die. They do skyrocket their way up. And Skittles not in a bad game as well. They now find themselves in 6th.
Yeah. Again, like you said, it's a pretty crowded pack, right? A lot of teams with a solid start. Nobody is running away with it just yet. But a lot of teams with a really solid start. And keep just to sort of remind everyone, yes, we're playing for the win here. Top 4 gets money. That's a cool thing. But the top 8 gets you to the Masters. Masters is where you want to be. Masters is where the big money is. And Masters is where you qualify for an international, global Masters as well. So that's what everybody has in mind. Top 8 is the name of the game. And this is the name of Rondo. Gliders. This won't be the only one, but this might be one of the riskier ones. Topchick probably wants to get a few shots out, but he's just a few seconds too late.
Yeah, I think there's outside edges, those sort of plays where everyone's trying to find those gliders. So, yeah, a couple of seconds behind. Does miss it. A couple of seconds ahead. Might have caught him. Just trying to dial up, speed up the glider. Now, Slam Jeep do get away with it. They're going to be able to scout. And again, I'm spoken very openly with this. I do really like the gliders, especially if used correctly. You can scout your path forward. Joy, while trying to scout the path forward. It's Win Dry coming to the north side to take an aggressive stance. But no, well, Levante goes down. He's going to be confirmed out. Somehow he found his way into the pagoda.
Yeah, I was looking at the map. I was wondering what Win or Die was doing because they were so just spread so thinly around the map, and they were already landing close to Skittles. Now they're walking in to Krint. That is some naughty shots from Leosh. Holy, he's even hitting on Slow Jacket, but again,
Fangle.
Spread so thin. Already down numbers. Now they're trying to force the issue. Now they're trying to win the fight in the compound, but they got to do it fast.
This is a bit tit for tat. I think they're happy to lose bodies, though. Kills
that's
equal
big.
points.
Nade.
There's one. Pre-fire comes through with a nade. Well, it causes the damage. I love the pre-fire. I think he was expecting a nade to force that player out into him. It does go down. Does mean get the confirmation. Does mean they'll be able to go get the chip. And we know Win or Die. They're eager to get back to a full squad. Oh, well, it's the hop on past and now be very cautious. He's going for a full send, actually. About to say, because that EMP zone is going to deny the car rotation. So he's cut the engine. He's zeked his way in. He's trying to claim some points.
It's not pretty for either side, honestly. Better end of the stick for Win or Die for sure, but
No.
wasting a lot of time here. Losing a member. Now they want to hunt this down. The VSS is not going to do the trick, but they pop a tire here, Mark. This might suddenly become doable. Poppycock
Looking for it.
should be getting out of dodge here, though, surely.
Not looking for it. He's trying to keep every path he can. It keeps him in sight. Makes a little bit more distance. And now, well, the zone set down a little bit further from these teams. This forces, unfortunately for them, really interesting for Win or Die to go well out of zone to try and take that fight. But they'll be looking for a recall system. Back on the other side, though, FaZe starting to expose Fairy Tale. JS9 sitting in the compound now. Mixie looking back the other way as Gustav, though, has Hive also back filling his position.
Center slowly filling up. FaZe is trying to rest Fairy Tale here, or maybe FaZe just pulled up into a classic Fairy Tale stack. They do like to rat these compounds sometimes, but Dreams has a bit of a taste of their own medicine. This is classic Fairy Tale. The amount of times I've seen Brightside in a compound with a Panzerfaust just hiding, not peeking, is honestly too much for my taste. Jimbo has the same tool, but his team is falling apart on the sides. Conf, though, he walks into the wrong neighborhood totally. Instantly punished.
You really like Conf as well. Definitely a player recently that has impressed me. Unfortunately, stepped on a landmine there. He's going to fall down. VP obviously were getting the initial knock. Hive also going for the crash. This, guys and girls, is based upon the point system, right? Points are key, and with the kills in a very focal point, this is why we're seeing a lot of early action. Teams will let the car roll by. Now he just pops a couple of shots, maybe drawing the attention back, though. That's unfortunately for Shinga. He's going to fall. Confirmation will come through, though, as he does get Mixie down.
Conf rolling in there might also just be them reading the kill feed, right? Seeing 2 of phaser knocks, and he thinks, oh, I'm rolling up on 2 knocks. And, well, in for a rough awakening. Now, Ascend coming on through, Gliders, we talked about it. Big thing on Rondo right now, big thing on Rondo for a while. And Björnta is the one flying it this time. He's farmed some interesting clips with Gliders. He's been bogging around a bit. He's been teleporting across the map and stuff, but right now he's getting all the information for Ascend here. And I think what he's telling them is essentially, it's an absolute mess down here. There's 4 different teams killing each other below me. Maybe we can snack away some free points.
Really interested if James actually also tries to take the E pickup just to get the hell out of here. Outside lines up this shot. Oh, nade. Well, it's going to go towards one place and one place only. That is a huge arm that's needed. It's going to be short. It's going to give the information away that there is someone potentially in nade distance. So does it go for that reposition? Does now get his connection on as the match pickup does come in, and that's going to unfortunately go the wrong way for the Zonko, but it does get him out of the chaos that was just ensuing.
Chaos is a good word for whatever just happened there. Now, that circle, we've seen it a few times, right? It's the classic between Testrak and Zhao Tin. Bushido is already in some of the best spots. We just watched Descend roll towards the right direction. That swamp area. Bit of a magnet for circles. And Ascent now, they want to get both out of the MP, and they want to get after Hive, because they know Hive are weakened. They know they're just down in 1 car. They are trying to hunt this down, and Björnta is just the shepherd dog from atop. He's herding them into the direction he wants them to go to, and he's telling the boys where to find them.
Absolutely love this. This is what we're talking about, like joysticking your team in, not just from a like rotation point of view, but you can punish, utterly punish. So he's going to try and isolate Hive. You've got to be cautious though, that EMP is going to cause some issues. He knows exactly, it'd be no surprise he'd be pinning that location. The guys will be rolled into a stop as he dances around the outside, ensuring his glider stays activated.
Glider's possibly the best vehicle at dealing with the EMP, but look at that. Hive is just getting away because of it. Ascend has just been completely stopped in their tracks. Björnta is the only one still mobile. The rest of Hive...
Oh no.
Yeah, they're taking matters into their own hands. They want to get something back, but honestly, a drive-by in Glider is pretty hard to deal with. Now, well, let's also get in our own drive-by. And now Björn might just be a little bit in trouble. Yes, he can glide, but they can hunt him now if they want to.
He's going out to the blue, isn't he? He knows. You're going to come for me, you're going to come deep into the blue for it. It's phase 2, get away with it. Hive cruise their way out of the EMP. Obviously, he's going to be able to see those guys rotating away, so I don't think we'll be too surprised if they go back. VP making the push now. Brightside does have the Panzer. He's going to swap his way over. I'll just look back, trying to see where the peak is coming from. Has Bushido on the adjacent side as Luke Rock does get meant to bay down. They are rotating around him. He's be very careful. He's besieged to a degree. Pop up and eventually now starts taking the damage. Has to reposition. Nade comes in. Second one going to be perfect. Can't swap around to the other side and he can't let go. Unfortunately, no. Corexi will pick him up before he can unleash that Panzer towards him.
Ascend is still hunting. What is going on, Mark? What has Hive done to them? This is starting to feel personal at this point. But I think they've also realized there's not that many good spots in the zone for us here. So 2 points would be pretty sweet. And Hive, they're starting to get their limits tested here. They're starting to say, well, at some point we got to fight back. We can't just continue running. That's a nice tag from Crystal. That's a lot of damage. And that is opening the door for the rest of Ascend. Nade's coming on through. Björnta with a huge off angle. He's going in fully. What is that commit?
Wow.
Instantly put down.
You got to remember, though, you can lose a body, you can get revived, right? And you got to remember, like, 2 additional points, well, you got to get yourself in third place. I think this is now playing to kind of Ascend's style. Let's go aggressive. Let's get these kills. Yes, we're on the outside edge. Oh, no! Chris goes down. This is the downside to it, though. You've got to get it clean. They now know they're split. Looking to try and stack up those Hive. Looking to bring the car back. The smoke's providing the cover. Aiden goes around the outside, gets the tree for cover, but Schengen catches him just before he sneaks into cover.
Pins should have one here, but
oh,
nope.
No.
And Hive is showing them and letting them hear that they're not happy with how that went down. They're happy with how it ended. But they've been hunted for, I don't know what that was, 2-3 minutes through the blue with a glider, everything, and then they close it out in the end. Yeah, it's hyper aggressive from Ascend. Maybe they're just trying to have some fun. Maybe they're just trying to get the confidence up, but
no,
that didn't work out all too well. And I have a feeling like this is not going to work out all too well for Conf. Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
You're getting revived? That's another point for us. Sweet.
Plays into this point change. I like the system. It forces aggressive starts. Now risk versus reward. Obviously Ascend were going for a risk, and they didn't receive the reward, the additional points this time. Doesn't matter. They are top of the table at the moment, and they have been hunting down teams. There's Slam G hunting down more. There's one refusing to get out of the car. We'll go for the spray. There's the second now as Blue Sticks will confirm. Not just one, but 2 more on the board. And the Slam G, well, will find themselves on 6 points.
One way to get the points. CS, not been super hot today. Would love to get some of these rotation frags. Picking people out of transition. The circle has gone hard southeast. Harder south than a lot of the teams would have imagined. So we're seeing the reactions now, but all that carnage, all that crazy stuff we've seen for the last few minutes has made some space on the map here, Mark. It's made sure that a lot of these teams are going out, a lot of these teams are losing members. So it's fairly reasonable to still find a home in this circle now.
We've got a couple of revive locations storing as well, so playable for these teams. James was on the outside edge, so he might have to figure out which way he wants to rotate his way in. It's the same. Unfortunately, for some of these other teams, we're down to 14 teams. 42 players are up as we speak. The zone is about to pop. And unfortunately, Yuling now goes, and VP find himself store in the center, store uncontested, because all the chaos has been happening on not just the outside edge, but the outside edge even into deep of the blue.
Devante's one of the few that got revived. He's got himself a car. I don't know if he's gotten himself the loot to play this game. He's got a helmet and a vest. So that's pretty good. He must have looted his body, yeah.
He's got barrel.
Yeah, he's got guns. He looks just fine. I'm just going to pull up with the rest of the squad. Bringing them back up to numbers. And, well, we've lost a lot of players, Mark. But I can tell you, we're losing a whole lot more when this circle closes. So many teams on edge here.
Yeah, it is. Everyone's on the edge. VP, as I said before, they've sort of positioned themselves in the middle. So Storm, though, opting this time. Third time's not the charm for the E pickup. Yeah, the E rotate, as they've just joined in. They have, unfortunately, been subject to 2... unfortunate pickings, we say, to get him. Hive, well, after being chased down by the chaos that was Team Ascent, they get the opportunity to get a revive and get some bodies back in. Zone going to shift away. We're going to start losing these as well, so grab it where you can.
I think SlamG are hunting that as well. I think they've seen some weakness there. They want to try and get their way in. They have to get their way in, right? Like, so many of these teams, they gotta fight their way in. Not everybody has the same space that a Bushido had here, for example. James is cruising. He's super silent here, Mark. Well, he could have ran all the way down if he wanted to, but he's got 10 first aids, so he should make it in. Rocks, though, we saw him on the minimap there. I'm not sure if he's hunting. I'm not sure if he's... He knows now. Oh, he shoots a little early, but he should still connect this. Yeah, phase out. Rox, I think he got some blue chip revive here. And he even lives after.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I think James was going for that same location, right? So, obviously the map, there's an animation on the map, so he would have known. But I suppose you'd logically expect that, oh, he's got it. He's going to move further into zone now. He's going to try and find position. So, unfortunately for FaZe, they will go down. CSCS, well, they now put up. Wanna Die are slightly here. A little bit of a split. Deadrock's though with an off angle. Akim, well, he's going to try and use the high ground now. So nades will get position straight towards the smoke. 1, 2, 3, go in. There's one. There's two. Third one. Just the outside edge in the car. Well, it bounces back and Leosh dodges a fine line and dances the dance.
Again, I said, right, SlamG was going to hunt CS here, and they've done that. They've pushed CS into this fight, and now they're third-partying it from range. So they're going to close this out, and they're going to do more and more damage. You can see them on the minimap approaching. They're not done with this just yet. This is their side of the circle that they want to play, and they're making this harder and harder and harder. The poor souls of CS here, and Layers on the other side. He's got an absolute blaster. He's got a Panzerfaust. Gedrox picks one up with a mini. And it ain't looking good for CS.
No, it's difficult. They have literally been forced, right? They've been pushed into an area they don't really want to play. SlamG now find themselves on the outside. They're already racking the kills as well. VP now sit on the outside edge as well, so hopefully they'll be looking for that kind of Bushido. Looks like Win or Die are prepping the mortars as well, and Win or Die go full send in into the smoke, into the chaos though. Launches a nade over the top. The car's about to go as well. The car catches him. SlamG forcing damage, and they're not even fully involved.
They got so much good space now, but look at that map as well. Look at the split screen, right? Bushido's coming in, and if Bushido can get any drive-by going into SlamG, they would love that right now. So they got to be a little bit worried. Yulin at the same time blowing up completely. Dante is parachuting into the middle of an well-inhabited circle with no gun, no loot, nothing. Oh, it's such a mess, this map.
We love it. We love it. It's the chaos. It's the new update. Peekaboo! Slam sees you. Bushido didn't fully commit to push. They stopped on the ridgeline now. Didn't have all the information. They're fighting back. Metabay does get Arctics down. These guys are in rags. Well, the next third party come in. 100 ADR need to figure out which way they do. They're on the other side of this zone as well. But Hands of Hope are trying to hold them out. Bushido, well, looking forward, looking for an opportunity. But they really need another knock. And there's that knock comes in. Mogor goes down. Maybe now Kowo Bushido can step to the next part of this zone.
Got a lot of the reses going. Have consolidated up, but it's boosting on the other side. He's still doing the damage. He's still finding the pressure. He's finding the impact that he wants. Rox has found one of Slowstorm from the blue. Knocked in flush. Dante is still alive and kicking. That is wild. He actually somehow maneuvered his way on out. As ADR is blowing up. Hands of Hope saying hello. There's another nade where they came from. That might seal the deal on 3 of them. No, just 2 of them. Hickses, 1 HP. Lutic, 1 HP. They're just holding on to dear life, Mark.
Yeah, the cars are doing damage as well. He's just got a med, but he's only got bandages. That's the final bandages go. Now he's trying to get the confirmation where he can. Sees the player, gets the spray. Transitions across nicely, but he's got to get shifting. He hasn't got the meds. He hasn't got the time. Hands hopes, yes, they have come out of that one alive, but they've come out with not much left in their back pocket. So they'll be very cautious. There's a bit of luck that no one else is really there. But they could be careful. We saw, unfortunately for them, Hive on a split. Hands of Hope lurking this way.
Such a pain for Slowstorm again, right? Rox was looting those first sets of Jimbo, so he had more than 10. And now he's using all of them. He's slowing them down. They can't do anything about it. They can't really push into the blue. Gotta wait him out. Gotta try and find him when he comes. And he's gonna delay as much as he can. Almost gets himself into placements here. If this was all point format, he would already be in them. Now, not gonna be enough. Should be an easy pickup now. Yep, there it is. Easy pickup for Slowstorm. Has cost them a ton of time and a member. But they have dealt with it now. That being said, Mark.
Nothing.
Oh, he's got nothing. He's a busy little bee. He's just gonna try to prone his way on in. But look at VP. They've got everything on the north.
Absolutely love it as well because he's got nothing. He's just going to try and hold out. There's no landmine to step on there. Hands of Hope has come that way and no point in conversion just yet. VP, they've got to step out and they are now stepping up. 5 kills so far. CS or CS22. One player remains. The ridgeline. You've got to think when correcting the guys get closer to the front of that ridgeline, they might want to have a look down, see where their next position is, where they're going to transition to next. You might find there's a player already lurking there. 17 now remain. Don't forget we are still not in the placement point. There we go. A little peek over the top. Unfortunately for CS, they're going to step out though. 7th place for them. 6 teams now remain, but only 11 bodies. And maybe you'd even go down to 10 because the Busy Bee has nothing to use.
Right, bonus points from using a B outfit when he's playing for Hive.
Yeah, smart.
Absolute plus for style points. Luca Rux is busy. He's looking at people that matter to their game. And just like that, with a little bit of C4 action, our little Busy Bee is in the top 3.
Let's have a look. The Busy Bee has made placement points. He has to believe in himself there, Koho, that he can go maybe one more. Because the sweet honey is waiting.
I mean,
it's a 4 versus 3 versus 1. He's in the points.
Yeah, Hive are absolutely buzzing for this. Didn't expect to get away with so many points. I don't know. I'm done. I'm over.
Some would say, I've got loads, mate. Some would say he's just winging it at the moment. But I'm only pulling your leg at the moment.
Oh, no, Mark.
Okay,
Stop. That was below the acceptable threshold, okay?
Okay.
Until now, it was all good. Now, yeah. VP have 97% of the play zone. Slowstorm have 2. Our little Busy Bee has 1. I think VP are relatively likely to win this game, Mark. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd love to see a punch up at the end, though. If they realise that the final player has...
Oh, if they see him having no gun?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that'd be sick. Somebody message them.
Someone message him. Licrox is right next to him as well. He's not seen him. He's not looked this way. Because I think they feel like they're in full control. Maybe they don't have the full kill feed read on Slowstorm, right? So maybe they think it's a 4 versus 4 and they've kind of closed up the circle. Well, let's wait and see. It's a 4 versus 3 versus 1. And as we said before, if only just joined in, our Busy Bee of Hive has got nothing. That's maybe the downside to the recall system because he's recalled back in, unable to get to a compound. Now he's playing out, but he's in the placement points.
It's in his hands, right? And when he sees he's 2nd place, he can start jumping around, punching the air, and they can give him a fair fist fight. A fair 4v1 fist fight, you know how it goes.
Headshot.
They're dispatching off this here. Slowstorm has no space. They can get the double nades out, but there's more coming back. They really don't have anywhere to go. The blue zone's going to close them out even more.
Oh,
the other blue zone is pushing in. It's a matter of time here. They've done their best. They've out-survived basically everybody else, but they're gonna be a little confused, and they should know as well here, right? They see 7 alive, they know they're 2 up, they know that there's a solo somewhere, so every second they survive could give them another placement point, but they know that that's a possibility. We know it's rather unlikely.
Lucrox is locked in as well, right? He's been sitting on the right hand side of the rock. There's 2 now. Now we will have to see. It's not winging it anymore. He has to believe. No, the buzz is gone. There's no believing in yourself anymore.
Ah, come on.
Don't worry. Be happy. VP will take the win. Slam G do get the kills though. Yeah. What?
All of the style points gone. That's boring.
Why not fight it out for a fist fight at the end? Yeah.
I mean, respect. I respect him getting 2nd place there. That's the play. He could have jumped around and punched the air a little bit at least, giving us a bit of entertainment, but he does the correct play, alright?
Oh, because
it's weird when a German guy is criticizing you for not doing the fun thing, that's not something you see every day, but correct decision from Dante, not what we wanted to see.
Love it, mate. It's what the slowly rubbing off on you, mate. It's taking effect. The Agent of Chaos, though, will pursue. But this game has been pretty chaotic. Yes, we didn't get the kind of the BRDM. We've got lots of recalls. We've got lots of fighting early on as well. And arguably, because of the placement point change, as I said before, I think it ensues this sort of stance of aggressive. Let's go get as many kills as we can. And we saw that from Team Ascend. They were fighting heavy for that team out in the blue.
Yeah, that was weird. Not sure what happened there, but VP take a good compound. They played the game out. They closed their edge out. No big mistakes from them. Everything under control the entire time. Loads of crazy stuff going on that match. Loads of crazy stuff in those open fields, right? So many fights going on. So many teams blowing up, breaching, third partying. And VP just say, okay, we've got a good spot. We'll close out the game from here.
Well, if you was be happy as mine was on that last one. We've only got one more game left, though. Rondo has been done. It does mean we are going to go to a round. So don't go anywhere, but these breaks are super, super quick. So run, grab a drink, be right back. We'll see you in round number 4.
Welcome to the PUBG.
Updates to ranked mode, some gunplay adjustments, the return of the black market, and a little boom boom while you zoom zoom. All this and more as we dive into the update 36.1 patch report. First up, ranked mode is getting some major changes for Season 36. Ranks now feature 2 new tiers, Crystal between Platinum and Diamond, and Survivor tier for those who can manage to push themselves beyond Master. Ranked Duo mode is being added, while tiers and RP have been unified across party types and perspectives. Because of this, everyone's RP will be reset this season back down to 1500. And ranked playpoint rewards have been improved. So drop in, rank up, and collect your new rewards. In addition, we're also unifying your Battlegrounds experience between ranked and normal matches. This means you'll see the recall system, Red Zone, BRDM, and items like the zipline gun and C4 in ranked. These are big changes to how ranked works, so be sure to let us know your feedback. Next up, we've got a couple of weapon adjustments coming your way. We've cut down the AUG's aim punch by roughly 50% and slightly reduced its damage, while the VSS and muzzle brake have been buffed. We'll be launching Gunplay Lab's DMR rebalance soon to test the reduced RPM and damage for DMRs. This DMR rebalance aims to strengthen the unique characteristic of DMRs and better differentiate them from SRs. So make sure you drop in and let us know your thoughts. PUBG's annual superstore, the Black Market, is making its return this update. Pick up a new Crafter Pass along with 4 classic progressive weapon skins and 6 chromas. Check out the upcoming Black Market announcement for all the details on how to grab these fan-favorite skins. We've also rebalanced the red zone a bit and added vending machines and destructible pots to Vikendi. And speaking of destruction, players can now toss throwables while driving and use handguns from the driver's seat in Watercraft, just in case you needed to add a little more rage to your road. There's a lot to dive into, so be sure to check out the patch notes for full details on everything. Update 36.1 is here, so stop by the Black Market, brush up on your ranked skills, and toss more out your window than dirty looks. We'll see you on the battlegrounds.
Told you the breaks are not long. That was as long as Hive survived out in the last cooldown against VP. But that's 3 games done and dusted. All aggressive, all pretty chaotic when it comes down to some kill points there, Kevo. And we're about to go old school. Back to Erangel, back to the home and grassy pastures. I expect this one to be just as chaotic.
Yeah, hard to expect anything else at this point. VP cleans that one up, puts themselves in the driver's seat. Ascend with a fat 0 in the third game. They fall out of first place. Hive with the 4 placement points there, or 3 placement points, excuse me, get themselves all the way to second. And we still have a relatively even scoreboard, I think, considering the amount of games we've been playing. A lot of teams setting themselves up for success tomorrow. Nobody really running away with it. Sure, the top 2 has a tiny gap, but considering that we have 5 more games, this isn't anything crazy, so to speak of.
No, it's that whole, like, one game can change it, and then we'll see more of that, though. So tomorrow, it is a best of 4 each day, best of 8 overall, so you don't really have that game to throw away. Yeah, you'd argue maybe Ascend didn't maximise the points they could do in that last one, but they're also top of the leaderboard. So at that point, so they had the opportunity to kind of be aggressive. Looking back, obviously last week, obviously the cutoff point a little bit lower down. So I'd argue to say this is quite a balanced lobby as well, Koa. We've still got some big names in here. We've got some up-and-coming names in here. Still shocked to see Bushido on that right-hand side of the table. But I said at every event, I feel like at the moment, somehow, some way, they kind of find themselves on that left-hand side. But we are looking. The magic number is the top 8. We are looking. So, yeah, there is still a game to play, but still opportunities for these teams to move on over.
Yeah, like you said, right? We're saying this every event, and there's always somebody at the bottom that you don't expect when you only played 3 games, right? These events are so short, they're so dynamic, everything can change in a heartbeat. We've just seen that for every team who just ascend 17 points in one game. Anybody on the right side of the scoreboard gets a game like that, instantly up on the left. Prize pool's there. It's $1,000 today, but going to the Masters is the big deal. We are at the bottom line at the purple section. We're in the second player cup of the circuit, and we are going to a best of 18 players Masters. That is next weekend. That is what everybody else is going for. That's what everybody else is aiming for, because that is where the big money is, Mark.
This is what I really like about this graphic, right? This screams out. There's people in chat that have asked how to get involved in this sort of stuff, but this is the best tour, the best way to get involved. You and your friends just need to sign up though in either week 1 or week 2 and compete in the best of 3s. The entry points, you're going to rack your points up. You're partaking all the other random teams that are going to be signing up as well with their friends. If you find yourself on the top of the leaderboard, you find yourself, as Kara says, in this sort of middle section, that purple section in the cup tour. Then it depends on where we are in the year, is if you're going to a Super Cup or a Masters Cup. And the Masters Cup, though, that's the one with the big prize pool at the end. That's the one everyone will be looking for. And these are the 8 teams that have already secured their spot. They were there in week number 1, and we saw Foot yet again topping the table. But there's some big names already secured.
Huge names already out of the conversation for this weekend, not out of the conversations for the Masters as well. Those are the names you expect to dominate at the Masters as well. Your GK, your Twist, your Navi, Foot, BB, all those teams you would expect to pop off. Again, a player cup. Yes, I think every team that is performing well and playing well will be in the top 8. It's enough games to sort out that top 8. There can be a little difference. You can end up in 3rd or end up in 1st, just depending on the variance a little bit, right? A few zones, somebody gets a BRDM, you get a BRDM, but then the other guy has a Panzer, right? There's a lot of variables in this game. So I wouldn't just say that Foot is clearly the best team on this list, but I look at that top 5 and I think these are absolute threats, absolute big ballers, and they're gonna probably all do okay in the Masters as well.
Yeah, you do make a really good point, right? We're on the latest patch, guys and girls, so there are loads of new features that you are seeing to a competition style of PUBG, but features that have been in the normal game and now also in ranked. But I've always said there's kind of yes, they might add one thing, but there's always something else that sort of counteracts it. It's really big and showing today, and well done to the observers, obviously picking up the BRDM and the Panther, because it's that rock, paper, scissors you talk about. Yes, you might not find it, but if you have got it and the stars align, actually you can stop things like that. And it comes down to kind of that raw firepower, what the tips and tricks that you've got. It's up to you to figure it out with this new patch. All these players, all these pros, they're trying to level up as quickly as they can, but we are starting to see some stars in the mix also come to the light.
Yeah, it's really cool to see a lot of these consistent names as well, right? Like a free side, Without Dope, Hands of Hope. Those are names we've seen almost every week. We've casted them almost every player cup. They keep coming back. Slam G, right? Doing really well in the first Masters as well.
Yeah.
A Fairy Tale is in there. So many teams that aren't the regional partners. They aren't the global partners. They aren't the players that have flown out to international lands all the time, but they are coming back time and time again. They're performing time and time again. It's really good to see that sort of this TPP player base established, right? Teams consistently doing well, grinding it out as well, getting that experience going. You love to see it.
Because this is key. As I said before, it's only a best of 4 each day, Koa. So I do feel like we don't have that kind of one throwaway game. We play each map once, and some teams prefer some compared to others. I feel like our wildcard maps, I say, our middle 2, they've been really chaotic already. Interesting to see what we're going to do, because we are about to kick off though the final game. Any early expectations? Do we feel like Ascend will get back to the top coming towards the end? Because the 2 new ads, the 2 step-ins, the 2 sub-ins are looking pretty strong.
They were looking good. I just don't know what that last game was. I don't know what that runner was. Driving around circles in the blue, trying to chase that duo. They were, yeah, confidence was there, but how did it work out? I'm not so sure. It's always easy to sit here when it didn't work out, right? And then say, oh yeah, that was bad. It was just a little crazy to me. It's a little over-aggressive. But like you said as well, I think we started with a relatively normal Miramar. And then we went to a crazy Tego and a crazy Rondo. So now that we're coming back to the old map, we're coming back to the old faithful, maybe we get a more normal PUBG Esports match. But I say that, and I already hear you laughing. I already start grinning.
Exactly
We know it's gonna get crazy. We know this is not normal. So why am I even trying?
It's not normal. Why? Because of one thing and one thing only. It's match number 4 for day number 1, and the flight path is a shocker. It's a southwest, pushing an east, barely an east. It does favour very much the south side of the map. And we do see someone with the contender skin jump out early to give them an indication that they want nothing to do with this one, because it does favour that sort of river towards the military island.
Yeah, that's a crazy plane. That's that kind of plane where you really want to have an ult drop already. You really want to have an ult drop on Millie base or Millie island at least. Yeah. Because the chances to go Millie here, maybe 30, maybe 40%, but that's good enough for you to just drop there. That's good enough. And the fact that we only see 2 teams go in for it here is wild. 4 teams wouldn't be unheard of. 5 teams, a little crazy, a little over the top maybe, but 2? That's nothing. That is crazy.
Do you know what's also crazy? We've got FaZe in the lobby. They're a team well known to close the East Bridge as well. If it does pop to sort of that military island and you've got FaZe in the lobby, you'd be questioning that East rotation, especially early, if you've only got the cards. Plane's done and dusted. Bushido and WG obviously are going as quickly as further towards the north they can to try and get their cars. Bushido having to turn away slightly. No other real hot drops-ish. Here's a fight for the cars, but they've got the cars. They haven't got the zone. And Bushido, well, they find themselves in a 2 versus 1.
Not the start you'd want. Elcup, though, got an early AUG for himself. He's hunting as well. He's been on the loot longer than they have. Senkapopo has a barrel, though. He's got the outside angle. Doesn't matter. Put down instantly. ATX. He's walking around like a little busy bee without a gun. Oh, no.
He's like, yeah, I was aggressive, but I didn't get anything. So if you can just distract him and just not die while I try and escape, it might work out. Well, Bushido, no copy is like, yeah, nothing to do with this. And how has he not found anything in that free story is surprising.
Yeah, you know how you know how I had this whole rant about in a best of 8, a lot of RNG can happen. It's RNG game, you know. It does happen sometimes. Observers are finding duck bills and cheek pads and not a whole lot else. But the cavalry is here, and they're gonna make this a 2v1 at least. You can't really say a 3v1 because ATX doesn't have a gun.
Yeah.
But they're supporting, and Bushido isn't really supporting Elcup at all.
Nah, he's backed off. Comes the flash. Worst case, they always get the chip, and he kind of get out of there, but I don't expect it. Here's the footsteps on the roof. He's going to have to reposition. He just needs to kind of isolate one of these players, try and figure out who wants to make the commitment to that building. But you're right. He still hasn't quite got the utility he wants. And there's a player who does have utility. Gustav here in the action. Oh, he's pulled up on the south.
And I'd love some freebies here, and Elcup might deliver them. There's the breach. There's the support. There's both teams committing, and both teams are going to feel the pain. Gustav picks up one. That might just mean the push. But it's another for Gustav on the outside. He expands the angle, goes further, finds a second. Disaster for Bushido.
You see on the map as well, the rest of FaZe are on their way in. Bushido gets a little bit of breathing room. The shots come through. Now we'll just still try and hold. He now goes on the inside edge. He hasn't caught him. He runs straight down. And he put the MP5 in the face. Link will be confirmed out for now in the pre-fire. Oh Oh my God, Bushido, one-man army hold strong.
He just absolutely destroyed them. What?
Insane. Deleted.
I mean, even the first fight, remember the 1v1 he had? That was already nutty. But now, he's playing with his food. Just every angle he took, every pre-fire he took was good. Lovely stuff. FaZe might still punish this, but big ups to Nelcop. That was sexy.
That was really, really good. Really good. FaZe, to get some more points. They've got the reinforcements now. There's one confirmed for them. Good stuff. Having a high ground. He's really been the sort of driving force behind this and moving into that sort of southern position. Bushido, one man, one army, I'd also say. Moves on out, but FaZe are hunting.
Yeah. I mean, this is a thing now, right? Where you don't want anybody to get these blue chip reses. So hunting does make a little bit more sense than before, but also it's classic FaZe. They love doing this. They love bullying people around a bit, being in control, and that spin is probably all she wrote now for Nailcop. He's done great things, but he should not be able to do that. He's ringing around the rosy. He finds one. Good stuff from behind, surely.
No.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if
day.
he continued to go, that would be God mode enabled. But no, Bushido, unfortunately, out. He will be able to get the res, and they will be able to get on moving. The zone, though, it is down in that southwest corner. We don't quite have the military of a little bit holding on, but it is down more. So down in sort of southwest corner. A lot of teams, though, moving in towards that quarry. I've not had a quarry ending for quite some time, actually. I do really like him, especially if he goes a little bit more towards that west of quarry. Sort of the overwatch between Hand Up Hopes and sort of there and between one or two. But we'll have to wait and see. There's lots of options for this one. There's lots of water that we have to give up as well.
Lots of bombs coming down on Lucarox's head right now. He's choosing to ignore them. They've been bathing in the red zones on Tego. He feels comfortable now. I wouldn't. Especially when you're in a car that might just blow up. One day, right? You keep playing with the odds like this. One day you're gonna find yourself on the wrong side of that red zone.
I'm just trying to figure out, why is it always VP? What have they done? I know they're like super cracked at the moment. And PUBG
skill-based matchmaking.
Must be. Has to be.
Best team in the lobby gets red zoned. It is what it is.
Oh my God, if you crack the PUBG Da Vinci code, maybe we'll have to.
That's why I always get red zoned. That's
there we go. That was a 1-2. He set himself up. Love it. I took the bait, hook, line, and sinker.
Yep. If nobody else is hyping me up, I gotta do it myself.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, we're down to 14 teams. 53 players remain. There's another red zone here at 100 ADR. Just on the outside edge that have brushed past V. Be cautious now. And Hive, 4 players up with 4 players with guns. They'd be looking to try and convert again, but they're doing pretty well on the leaderboard.
Yeah. Especially after a little dance Dante performed on the last one. Good frags to boot. ADR. The shivering. Not sure if you want to be below trees or not in this. Not sure if you're hoping that the tree catches the grenade for you, but so far no knocks, right? And okay, Mark, this is where we can crack the code. Actually, there's this sort of rumor that the red zone has to spawn on a player, so wherever it spawns, there is somebody. We can. I mean, that's a very random red zone placement, but
it is.
There is people there.
But the myth of me playing
maybe
ranks,
that is real.
Yeah, I think I'm starting to think it as well. I thought it the other day. Because actually, even the early games, when we saw in the south, it was on Tego. It was actually still over players. Ascend, hoping, praying that FaZe will be coming over the bridge, but nowhere just yet. Most of the teams are on the rotation in as well. Fairytale moving over. The Snake Road FaZe taking a E rotation as well, as they are now find themselves in school, but it's only Gustav taking that. The rest of them coming by South Chinky Hill. And yeah, Ascend just on the outside, and we'll hold here, just hoping, praying that the PUBG gods will deliver a package from the skies.
Now, it's not the first time I've seen someone prone in a red zone, but do you think it does the same thing as it does to nades, where it's like reduces the incoming damage?
I can tell you why. It reduces the option to move out the way.
Okay, there's a red zone with no players in it. Broken the myth.
Ah, okay. We've debunked it. There you go. Fact finding here. Fact finding. If you want to see it, you come to the tour. What makes it? Slowly will go down. Good kill confirm as well. From the outside edge, though. Good kill from them. FaZe looking pretty strong today. I want to go back to my Ascend new duo. You mentioned the honeymoon period. I think these two just seem to be fitting in quite nicely and pretty strong.
It's the way FaZe works. They either roll or they completely fall apart because they play so aggressive, right? That's kind of this all or nothing play style. Mexi's biting off a little bit more than he might be able to chew, but he's got a lot of teammates around. This is not what FaZe is really looking for. They want to isolate small teams. They want to isolate solos, duos, punish them. Full 4-man is not exactly what they're hunting for. But if they can pop a few tires, then maybe they can single someone out.
I love production. No, you haven't debunked it just yet. They knew exactly where Ascend were going to rotate, so it's store player being there. No, we have debunked it. It's fact. Now, it doesn't have to go on a player. It can go in a random spot. Most of the time, it seems to be going on a player. Or should we say 1 out of 10, maybe. Let's wait and see. Zone, shift further. We still hold on to elements of water here. CINC. Try and hold out as well without Dope. Not the best start so far. And tagging 3 points. Going to rotate really, really wide on the west. Try and find a home. Hopefully pray that they can work this one a little bit calmer from the west because a lot more teams store rotating in across the fields on the east.
Absolute mess of a zone shift. Most teams still able to find a good home, but you can see a FaZe clan here cruising right on through that red zone. Ascend still on Melee Islands, taking it mighty slow. Skittles, they were taking their time on that zone edge. First,
I love it.
Last few teams sort of getting the feelers in here. Trying to get in this edge sorted out while they're being bombarded.
I love that the observer is trying to catch. A FaZe were nice lined up, would have been a perfect shot. This convoy maybe taking a hit, and then they all just spread out. All different areas. Good stuff. He spreads his way towards 100 ADR. He's just sitting on this sort of outside of the swamp. A little bit of a scout over the top now. It is FaZe number 2, so hasn't quite seen the bodies just yet, but 100 ADR will sit, lurk, and wait, and Gustav is getting closer and closer.
They are trying to line it up. Spray comes out. Gustav's got that nade cooked, but he gets caught. Oh, it lets it rip. Doesn't do the damage required. FaZe wants to pull up, but it's instantly flushed out. Headshot comes in, makes this doable now, and you can tell they're not doubting this at all. They're flying over, drive by hip fire. What?
On fire.
How?
MP5, mate. Insane.
SMGs are good. Pretty okay.
My God. Pretty okay. That was smooth. Butter smooth. They should be able to get the ship and get back to our 4-man if they want to as well. Back to the combine. I love it. I love it. Look at this. Stay out.
Doesn't even AES.
Yeah, they just line up for him. They line up for the points. 100 AR, full team place. FaZe happy.
Okay, well, goodbye to my ranked experience. Everybody's running around with MP5s now.
Oh, yeah.
That's a GG. The only blue chip revival that they can get is in Quarry now, so that's a bit of a tall task, but I think we might have even lost Jumbo during that instant replay, by the way. I think FaZe down to 2, so not a whole lot of reviving going on there. Circle continues going southwest, still loads of water in play. The bit that's in play that's not water is in a red zone right now. Couldn't be any more cruel.
Donuts effect. Arctic's been pretty cool from the high ground. Thanks to Observer just to let us know that Skittles called a recall back from Pachinki. If you saw on the map there, had that pulsing effect. Back towards the action now. Hive will pull up. They put up into a pretty dangerous area. Sloy's going to have to go for that reposition, and Hive will be happy. Little bold to play, but it'll be cautious. Car 4 is going to be key.
Always a bit of an awkward situation when you're just playing a new spot, you're playing it in TPP for the first time, you're not really sure what the angles are, you're not really sure if you could just be getting spied out by a team above you. Hive is under a lot of pressure here, the nades are coming in, Dante is blowing up, second one, yep, 1-2, thank you. And they thought this was playable, and it clearly wasn't. Krint coming for the sweep, Poppycock gonna be first one to peek over, first one to get knocked down, but the trades should surely be there. There it is, Hive out of the running. Game 4 was not their game, but from the grave, he does a bit more damage.
There's a bit more damage from the grave. Here comes Skittle. Recall. That's a bit better than the Hive play.
That's actually so big.
He's going to be getting there clean as well.
The thing is not him surviving. He just flew across the middle of the entire zone. He basically got all the info they could ever want. Even if he doesn't live, he's kind of gotten his job done.
I suppose, yeah, because the team are now coming in that northeast corner, right? So he's going to have so much intel on that west. Actually, they're going to go for a full blind send. They're actually going to rotate their way around. Arctic Stoke. Spray. One more shot. We'll get the connection, but not going to be the case here. Skittles thread the needle on one. Slow Storm in the middle of the eye of the storm. That's the red zone. I feel like we missed it in round number 1, but it kind of made up for all the others.
Yeah, Ascend, 4 guys, 1 car, cruising in the red zone. Observer is going to get his ears raising up when he hears that. The red zone goes away before anything can happen. Them still no casualty.
And it comes back again.
And there's one more, and this is, I think, the last one we're going to see. It might not even pop up. I think they go away for phase 4, right? So this has 10 seconds to explode. And I think it doesn't even happen. That's what Ascend is coming in with. Hello! We've got a pink BRDM. I'm not going to call it a tank again, because somebody in chat is with a military background is going to yell at me and say it's a vehicle, an armored human transportation vehicle, or whatever the hell it really is. But they got a BRDM. And it's a pretty free entry to the zone.
It is, and the zone has popped. We've lost the water now, and arguably Ascent have nowhere else really they can pull up. That's going to be quiet, but they're going to be able to keep that vehicle alive for a lot longer. To the chaos though, and we have lost remorse though. Zone shifting away now. Slow looking to try and cause some damage now. He's got level 1 helmet, but he has got a barrel in hand. He's got nades. He's got a spare clip as well. So wait and see. Be cautious. The moment he activates here, the hill's going to be a problem for him.
Yeah. Wants to get that knock and that flush immediately. Gets the knock. Gets the confirm. Oh, tipping away from it. But he should get it from the window, surely.
The car.
Oh my... What?
Oh, what antics have we had today? Good catch, Observer. The car didn't make the hill, and it came rolling back down to destroy his hopes and dreams of a res. Doesn't help Skittle though. Aster now continue to move his way through. FaZe have EP'd their way in towards Primorsk as well. Had the hopes on the other side of the zone. They are running the gauntlet, and then surprise, surprise, Gustav's never that far away.
And the MP5 picked it up, realized that was the gun to play. Jimbo, no helmet, shotgun on his back. They're in dire straits, but they're trying to make it work. Primorsk has to leave. The entire circle needs to shift onto that hillside, onto the forest, where Slow Storm is, where Krint just destroyed Hive a few minutes ago, and where Ascend is still lurking with a BRDM in their arsenal.
Yeah. That might take him to the end game. We're talking about the end game at the moment. Has a straight put up, straight pull down, and unfortunately VP will be eliminated. Sloy launches Nade over towards the top there, a bit of connection. The rest of the players managed to take in the high ground, and Slow Storm though, very difficult mountain to climb.
That was 2.5 team kills from Slow Storm.
Yeah.
That was a run over, a team C4, and a team nade. That is... Yeah. That could have gone cleaner. That's not the fight they would have wanted. Maybe not the day they would have wanted overall. Nice shots from Krint. Hero is not going to make it to the shack unscathed. Slow storm. Oh, okay. We're floating
bad.
in space. Hi.
Looking for the mortar fire. Trying to figure out where it was, but we have seen again, win or die, again with mortar fire, so definitely dialed in. Slow storm, take the slow approach, has to pop up. There's one, looking for the spray for transfer towards the second. Doesn't quite get the connection. It is phase number 5, so has to be cautious, has to time the med correctly, but that nade though is going to underpin that, and that is a big GG. Down and out as he tries to claw not just 1 but 2 blue zone nades. Does cause some damage. I think they get away with it.
Get away with it for now. Ascend, not a ton of space left for them, but good enough to stay alive for now. They could play their side of the hill here for a little bit longer, but they will have to either switch it up to go to the road or breach the compound that without dope is blind. I think we're going to see them play for the roadside here in a bit, but they will wait this out. They will wait till more angles are eliminated by the zone shifting on it. That's going to be Krint on the other side of that. North side, though, is pretty hot right now, Mark. It's Fairy Tail versus SlamG.
It's quite an interesting one for me, actually, because Winnow are in the compound, right? But obviously this is played against towards the west. The Winnow try and hold the hard cover. Does the team sort of position themselves above them? Well, you'd expect the winner from this fight here to do that, but also Winnow have the opportunity to third party. If this gets really drawn into sort of trench warfare, Winnow might sort of swing out. You can kind of see Jedrock trying to get up, but actually look at that backstab now coming in from that southeast corner. That's not going to help him either, so I think Win or Die have the option to kind of third party.
Nope. They're just going to hold steady without Dopa trying to make moves out of the compound here, but they're getting caught pans down there. Nades in hand. It's making it around the tree at least, but doesn't find anything permanent. Fairy Tail on the other side, they're dealing with everything at the same time. April, Bombi, all together, they're dealing the damage. Staying alive through it. Looking really good right now, Fairy Tail, while SlamG is just falling apart.
Fairy Tail becoming kind of a household name, right? Not to be expected to be mid-table. The team from the fan would expect higher, so a more of an explosive ending for them. One has been knocked. SlamG working away. Arctic does get conf down, and that kind of really underpins their game number 4. SlamG. Looking to close out, be the final team coming in from the north. Smoke will be there. Nate will follow. They see 1, they see 2. Oh, the Nate doesn't get the connection.
Might have blown up the folded shield though. Boosted caught by Gedrox is actually big. That slows them down so much. There is that folded shield gone. See you later. Bombi dips into the smoke. 1 for Fairy Tail, 1 for SlamG. And Win or Die finally activating again without Levante Mark here. He's been flushed a lot today. They're still doing okay without him. Arctic's just suicide-dated?
He was like, yeah, you're not going to take me alive.
What?
He didn't want, unfortunately, Fairy Tail anymore to catch up with him as well. Because they'll get their higher up the leaderboard. We're still on the placement points, though. 5 teams remain. 14 players left. Ascend, well, they got 4 bodies up, 1 kill, but they got BRDM as well, so they'll be lurking somewhere close. And they've got the best skin, so that gives them extra style points when it comes down to it. But I think they're trying to figure out what time do they make the push. When
now.
To go, yeah, now go, because now the fight started.
You gotta go now. The more you wait, the more time Krint will have to set up against you and for you. They should be starting to make the move now. Take out CS there on that lower ground. Are they even using the BRDM right now? It doesn't look like it. They're just running it down. And just like that, 1 card in the open, 2nd card as well. Yes, CS goes down. But Ascend has lost 2 here. It's gonna make the approach a little bit harder. They should be able to get Chris back up. I'm not so sure about Pains.
Yeah, it'd be difficult to get Pains up. Top 4, 3 on the placement points though. Ascend onto a 2. We'll Die. Been popping off. There's another 1. I'm just using the angles to their advantage. There's my bad. Starting to enjoy the opportunity there. He can now leave the compound. Jedrox was the one sort of pushing forward though. He's used the ridge line really, really well. Hasn't quite seen the player there. Brings him left. Has seen him now and has to reposition as quick as he can. Does actually swings the shots and gets the connection as well. Great pickup.
That's big. That's huge. If he loses that and gets flushed, the game's suddenly so hard for Win or Die. Now they're staying up with 3, and they're staying in control. Ascent got all the reses, and from a disastrous position, they're now just fine. They're just chilling. And because without Dope, remember, they were running out of their compound. They were trying to take control in the north, and they lost one of their 3 members. They could have been an absolute force to be reckoned with, and now they're just, I think, sitting on the sidelines a little bit. Unsure how relevant they will even be. Oh my god, what a molly.
That's great, man.
What a molly.
Dusted. I need to move.
Later.
Placement point. That's number 1. Payne's raised up. So it's still a 4 versus 3 versus 2. Right, Dope obviously did rotate out here quite early. One of the first teams out in the west, so no one really joined them, to be fair. Had a little bit of danger on that north side when we saw Fairy Tail sort of push their way. That's it, really. What a time. They've been kind of in the storm for a while. They've been in the action. I'm looking to try and convert this one, but I'm sure Ascent got and more of a reason to try and find themselves back on top of the leaderboard.
There's not a lot of fuel left in this heaven. HP is not a worry right now. It's 30%, but the fuel is much lower than that.
And the tree. It's a bit of a worry.
Gotta wait the 10 seconds to figure out where you want that BRDM, to figure out where you want to go. Maybe even turn the motor off, just keeping things down for a bit. Circle centers on the road. Win or Die will keep some of their space on top. Without Dope, will keep some of their space at the bottom. And this might be another slow one, but Dope is not happy to stay slow here. They're going for the shack already.
As they need to make sort of a salvation, though, from day number 1. Only got 2, but they've got the top 3 positions, so they've already got number 2 points on the board. They do reposition themselves in a more of an aggressive stance, swap the door. I think they're waiting for this fight to erupt, though. Win or Die. Higher up, though. Out of my bad. Stay on the outside edge. Now, they've got the ability to peek, but they're going to be cautious, though, because Out of my bad gets closer towards that ridge line. That's when Without Dope can kind of start taking shots. But surely for Without Dope, they need this fight to happen, and they need to come in on the third party.
They are now very close to the center, so they have a chance to wait it out. But I think Ascend can play quite slow on that road, and it's going to be quite hard for Win or Die to overpeak with it without Dope still being alive. The only problem I see is Recap here. He's in it, but not for long, right? He's on the very, very edge of the circle, and if he has to move just a few meters up, he's already out, and he's basically just free for Win or Die, but they're not waiting around. They're blowing up Ascend right now. Big damage comes in. Beyond already knocked. Paint's in trouble as well.
Oh, wow.
Just like that. Double knock. Blood in the water.
It is blood in the water. You can see, look at all of the Win or Die team positioned towards this southeast corner. Eager to try and take the fight. Now they see the car. Just a little bit further, but he does expose himself, though. The Hell of My Bad didn't have his number, but they do now. Jedrock Stowe gets Recap as they try and close in. Here comes the car. It's Chris is down. Win or Die. They
the C4 US.
Completely happy. It was a play. It was a play. It just didn't make its destination.
Oh, I'm wondering why Ascend isn't going into the BRDM right now to heal. I'm wondering that wouldn't be the safer play. Make sure you're not getting blown up by the nades, at least until that BRDM is blown up, but fair enough. There it is. Blown up. Ascend closed out. Win or Die with just Util over the top. Put themselves in the winning spot. Put themselves in the driver's seat. And that should be the game done and dusted in seconds here. Hell of My Bad is wide open, but goes back to the tree. Stays alive. Slows things down a little bit. Timchik would have to pull off an absolute miracle.
Miracles can be done now. Let's wait and see what we can do. It's 3 versus 1. Win or Die. Said before, they're eager to maybe take the victory. But they're a team that normally has tricks in their back pocket. So have they just launched a C4? They have. They want a bit of tricks. They're going to wait for it, and it might be a full send, a full sacrifice. Leosh goes with the bike all the way in. He's going to drop it off. Is it going to be close enough? He goes around the outside. He's there. He gets a knock, and it's an explosive ending. He wins to perfection, and this C4, win or die. It's a win by dying. 14 kills, an additional 5 for the placement. And what an explosive start to this week, Koho.
They've had enough. They've had enough of Twitch chat saying, win or die, chose to die again. Yeah, no, they're winning and dying. They don't even care. Nice. Ending it with style, you know? What Dante didn't give us in match number 3, win or die gives us in match number 4. Well-deserved win from them. Very collected from the compound, right? Yeah. Maneuvering all the risks. I'm not quite sure when they lost Levante. I think they lost them on transition to the compound. But then as a 3-man, they played it out perfectly, and they deserve the win.
Well-deserved win. I feel like, again, every sort of game so far this day has been very highlights. Maybe Miramar is the calm before the storm that ensued, because it was pretty chaotic. But even, there was lots of highlights that came out from that. And Bushido, even with this sort of hold, lived much more than that, was great. Even down to the Ascend, said before, actually after the game, it's very difficult for teams to win off this position, especially with so many bodies up. But they played well. And Ascend, 2 new. Looking pretty strong. Yeah, looking really good in that first game. Looking okay in the last one. And a good start for Ascend overall. The Rondo, we talked about it, right? A little bit of a question mark, but all 3 other games were solid. That last game, yeah, it doesn't look great how they go out there. You expect a little bit more, but honestly, what were they supposed to do, right? They were playing the low ground. Win or Die found the timings to overpeak. Ascend was hoping they couldn't, but Win or Die found the right timings. And yeah, recap. Really on the wrong side of Win or Die today. Well, I know there's one team that's enjoying this patch because they've been pretty consistent. But really good. Really good to see us at Panzer before. Actually, he's launched him off the ground, that one. Really good to see them using all the utility. Really good for the Panzer, also showing and demonstrating that is that kind of rock, paper, scissors scenario that, yes, you might have the BRDM, but I've got the Panzer so I can stop it. I feel a lot of these maps were chaotic. It comes back to the kind of our point placement analogy, right? We're half-price chicken dinner. Yeah. But that, for me, is just going, right, guys and girls, you need to go get points. And the best way to do that is with kills. And it has been non-stop action. It's been very limited time where actually we've had a lull, should we say, when it comes into the game. Yeah, and this is one thing as well, right? You see Dante denying there. Obviously, we're a little upset. We wanted the content. But kill points are worth double. Denying is absolutely okay here. And yes, VP won that game, but Hive was pretty close to VP on the leaderboard, right? All the way until the end. So completely understandable here. And absolutely the correct play. And that was very correct from Nailcop. And that was very correct from James. Insane God mode. There's been so many clippable moments as well, and the MP5 obviously looking pretty good there, very aggressive. Faye's been aggressive all the way through. Sloy, obviously, who, as you said, not just about that knock, but actually the ability that he rotated his way over there and got so much information from the recall system for his team. Wasn't to come to fruition. A lot of teams struggling a little bit today, but I feel like nobody's completely out of it. Snowstorm, yeah, they had a rough start. I think they were expected to do rough, but they've got some points on the board, you know? They got some points here or there, some kills here or there. There's other teams that I had higher expectations for that didn't really perform at all. I think ADR is one of them, right? Where we thought, you know, consistent name, always rather kill heavy. They kind of get stuff done most of the time. Not today. Dope, again. They get bullied here. That, again, it's style points. I'm not complaining. But you're on the other side of this. It feels a little bit hopeless. Yeah, it does. I think there's been so many moments, though. I don't know if you've got one. Look, for me, it was definitely the kind of like the use of the BRDM and the Panzer. I feel like it was a really good moment, though, actually, in day number. I don't know if you actually have a moment or a clippable content, because it feels like there's been a lot for this day. I don't know if there's been anything that kind of jogs your memory or thinks of you know what? It's made me chuckle inside. I mean, plenty of them. I think that nail cup clutch as well in the compound there. That was nutty. That was clean. That was close to perfection. I mean, Jimbo on the flyby, right? It's literally a flyby with an SMG. I'm a bit of a hater for the SMG variety, you know, but you can't be mad at that. I think even just in the last game, there was so many highlights, like you said. Yeah.
Crazy stuff coming out. There's also a VP winning a crazy Rondo game where they just clean up everything with a Lynx and an MG3, right? And we barely talk about it because there was so much else going on that game.
Yeah, because they were sitting in the zone, weren't they? They were sitting in the zone for so long, and they controlled it really well, and yes, didn't get as much action, but they did find themselves after that top of the leaderboard. Well, not at the end of day number 1. Win or die with an explosive ending. Explode their way now in towards first place. 35 points for them. VP now in second with 33. Hive 28. Send 25 all the way down towards 16 for Fairy Tail. The current cutoff Koro is 16th. And Fairy Tail, you mentioned about 100 AR. I put Fairy Tail in that camp as well. I don't think they've had one of the strongest days that we'd normally expect from this team.
For sure. I think we're expecting them to do better. We're expecting Bushido to do a little bit better as well, right? 0 placement points. We would normally say ADR is a little bit better but the ADR is not as consistent. Bushido somehow always finds a way back, it feels like. They always find a way back into the top 8, even when we start counting them out. And then, yeah, Fairy Tail for sure. Krint, happy to see them do so well. They've had some rough games here as well. They didn't have free games at all. SlamG doing solid. FaZe Clan, classic 0 placement points, 25 kills. Standard FaZe way of approaching these games. But as I said it before, it works for them. So I love to see them do it.
Well, we do love to see them do it, but what do we need to do now? We need to say thank you very much everyone for jumping in. More importantly, this is day number 1. There is one more day. We'll be back though, same time, same place tomorrow. With only 4 games, if it's been anything like today, there are going to be another 4 chaotic games where these teams be fighting out. Why? For a top 8 position, we can only take another 8 more through to the Masters that will be happening next week. And that's where the big money is on the line. So make sure you put a pin in the diary. For now, go play some PUBG. Make sure you get the C4 down, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.